Welcome back to America's home for racing, Charlotte Motor Speedway, the Queen City Gambit, the opening round of the 2024 Stars Championship Series. The first of 4 main events on the year for the KA Masters class, the first of a ton of main events here from Charlotte with all the different categories that will run. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you joining us here on the Kart Chaser live stream, let us know where you're watching from. Let us know who you're rooting for and what you think of the action, because it has been nothing but fantastic all weekend. And Caleb Viesca here in the booth with myself, Xander Clements, Alexander Searle down on pit lane, bringing you all the intel, keeping you in the know of what to expect and what's going on. We're starting off with the Wiley veterans, the KA Masters, ages 32 and up. On the pole here, Ryan Kastner on that Maranello, David Goldman on the outside on the red and yellow DAP Kart, the Kart Republic manufactured machine, ages 30 plus, my mistake, 200 for the numbers, and John Bonanno, the last of the 3 that have run up front, starts third. Here we go, green flag down to turn number 1, and a smooth start for the first 3. They'll slot first, second, third as they are tied together behind them. Tyler Prestel, Anthony Stifler going wide there. Paul Montepoli into 4th, Austin Queen up to 5th, and they have all made it, albeit with a little bit of pushing and shoving through turns 1 and 2. Down the backstretch, the Maranello, the Prodigy Motorsports, and Maranello USA combination entry of Ryan Kastner leads us into turn number 10.
Yeah, Ryan Kastner, your leader here to start off this main event. Goldman, the driver who won the first and second heat races, currently in that second place. And John Bonanno, let's see if he found anything during this break or in the morning or overnight to really take the fight up to the top 2, who have been really quick all weekend long. And so far, Ryan Kastner sets a flyer. 14 minutes to go in this main event. It just started, but the action is already at an all-time high, as I think we had one driver around at that first lap going backwards on the exit of the first chicane. But into turn number 8 we go. Kastner moving down a little bit on the racetrack, a little bit defensive from David Goldman. Just a little bit of a half defensive move there. Goldman being patient with Kastner here at the moment, continuing to push him forward. And this is probably the story that we'll see in this Masters class. Goldman will probably let Kastner, lead for as long as he wants to, and whenever Goldman's ready to make the pounce, he will. It looks to be now on the inside of turn 13. Slots right back in a line for David Goldman.
Yeah, nothing yet here, but so much time to play here in this KA Masters main event. Couple movers at the end of the opening lap there. A good little midfield battle. Scott Carapolati, Tom Gerstner, and Kim Carapolati. That's a 3-car train in 9th, 10th, and 11th. Remember, Scott Carapolati had a mechanical failure in the pre-final. He's already up 5 positions here at the start of this main, trying to charge his way towards the top 5, while David Goldman is just taking his time there behind Ryan Kastner, and they are actually putting a decent amount of distance on the Fulcrum Competition Timmy Tech Comp Kart of John Bonanno. So Goldman trying to, push Kastner away might take us from 3 drivers that have been in contention all week down to 2, but a couple mistakes there from both of them. Kastner clipping the curb, Goldman a little sideways. That brings Bonanno back a bit closer here as they enter the bus stop before the back straightaway. All the while behind them, Paul Montepoli, he has faded a little bit back from the top 3, and he leads a 3-car pack of his own. It includes Austin Queen and Anthony Stifler. So that's the AMV car. Oh, pass for the lead. I thought we could go back for a little bit. I thought David Goldman was going to take his time. David Goldman, your new leader. Ryan Kastner second. John Bonanno pulls back up to line here as Goldman leads at the end of lap number 4. David Goldman that time by was about 100 to 200ths quicker than Ryan Kastner. He has added on to the margin. John Bonanno about another couple hundredths away, so it's starting to spread apart already. David Goldman there on the DAP cart by 5 car lengths back to second, back to third. Behind him there, that 3-car pack has stayed the same in terms of the drivers involved, but it also has had a change. Austin Queen on the PSL Karting QG3 Karting Beer Alert is up into 4th now, and remember, he got shuffled kind of wide at the start of that pre-final yesterday and really was having to rebound from it for a lot of the session, it felt like. So he's now moved himself up into 4th. You go back there, that's Chris McGinley here in the comp cart, running in the 7th spot, and he's got Scott Garipalati bearing down. Garipalati is now up 6 positions on the Cosmic, getting around Peter Cook that time in the Ricardo cart, and he's got one more in his sights. Now they are 3 seconds back, Caleb. Even though we've got 10 minutes plus 2 laps to go, that's a tall ask to try and get anything higher, but P7 might still be a pretty good prize considering he started tail end of the field.
Yeah, so a good drive up the field so far by Garipalati, who, like you said, DNF'd yesterday at the end of the pre-final, but has made a lot of moves so far in this one. Currently 8th and getting ever so close to that 271 comp cart of Chris McGinley as the other drivers continuing to cycle through. But for Scott Garipalati, going to want to make quick work. Is he close enough in the bus stop? Not as of yet. Turn number 8 is going to look to be his best bet if he decides to go already, because he does have Tom Gershner right behind him Peter Cook in the 219 Ricardo cart right behind him. Is he close enough this time by? Garipalati on the inside of the hairpin, able to get clear. No over-under move that time by Chris McGinley. So Garipalati up to P8 here, 7 here in this one.
So 7th now with 3 seconds and probably 3.5 to get up the boards. Let's check in with your leaders here. It's still about 6/10 apiece between them. David Goldman leading the way, a 44.159. He's starting to hit the afterburners now. I mean, he is rocketing away. That was 2/10 better than John Bonanno and a 10.5 better than Ryan Kastner. So the close racing, the close quarters battling we saw yesterday, it is not nearly this close here on Sunday morning. We are watching this man just start to really put a gap on Kastner, and at this point, I'd say he's just about outside the tow distance. 7/10. It's going to really start to open up now when Kastner's not getting any slipstream help down this straightaway, and he's within a 10th of what he did last time. Added a 10th to Kastner, 2 more tenths added on to John Bonanno. Just faster than everyone. There's no other way to say it. It's as easy, as simple as that. David Goldman has a leg up on the field right now, Caleb.
Yeah, and I mean, we really can't fail to mention, right? We're already 7 minutes into this main event for your KA Masters with 7 minutes to go. So very long main events here for these Masters. And again, it could be, the physicality of the racetrack taking effect to Ryan Kastner, to John Bonanno, who just don't have that long run pace here today.
Let's check in here with Chris McGinley and Peter Cook. We were watching Scott Garipalati go forward. Looks like he's not the only one. McGinley slipping into the clutches of Peter Cook for the 8th position. Garipalati's already well up the road now, and this battle just inside the top 10 has only 2 car lengths between them as the 2 of them head out of turn number 4 and head for the bus stop here at 5, 6, and 7. Chris McGinley, Peter Cook, and then Kim Garipalati in the 10th spot by himself. 4 seconds back from him to Tom Gerstner and Jose Garcia. Then Kevin Simonelli, Bob Davis, Ken Simonelli. Unfortunately, contact for Frank Giuffre and Tyler Prestel, or some other thing amiss there for the 2 of them. Prestel is all the way tail end, I believe 1 lap down. I think he may still be on the circuit, if not pulling in. Prestel out early. Giuffre out as well. So both drivers there, Frank Giuffre, Tyler Prestel out. 15 of our 17 continuing to roll. Here is the fight for second. We said that the top 3 were getting away. Well, John Bonanno is starting to hit his stride now as Kastner had a big mistake last time, Caleb. He gave up half a second. Look at that, 44.88 for Ryan Kastner, 44.2 for John Bonanno. That puts him fastest on the circuit right now.
Yeah, for John Bonanno doing a really good job here. Like like we were saying, you know, all weekend long, been struggling on pace, but it seems like he's coming to life here in these later stages of today's race. So let's see what John Bonanno can do if he decides to go for the move now. We've seen him even struggle to make the passes on Kastner whenever Goldman was leading. So let's see what Bonanno can do here in this one. He is the reigning champion. He does have a lot of class. So we know he can make the moves, but just been struggling for setup as he drops the tire there on the exit of turn number 7. So not going to help out his charge.
We just got word from the reporter on the racetrack. The lap traffic of Frank Jeffrey was trying to get out of the way. That was the reason for the big slowdown for Ryan Kastner. So he caught the lapper at an awkward time. There's more lap traffic getting flagged off. Ken Simonellik, I believe, just got the black flag in the 220 there at the corner of the screen. So they're doing their best to clear the racetrack for the leaders to get through. But now Ryan Kastner able to kind of get that pace picked back up. But John Bonanno, with the Kart dialed in now, is able to hang with him, whereas earlier he was a half-tenth to a tenth slower than the 2:03. So David Goldman out front by 1.4 seconds. Ryan Kastner, John Bonanno, the closest fight that we've got on the circuit currently. There's pairs of two kind of around the racetrack right now, as Austin Queen has gotten away in the 4th spot. He's in no man's land. Paul Montepoli the same, with a little gap back to Anthony Stifler. You got a pair of Chris McGinley and Peter Cook there as Scott Carapolati's pulled away from them. I will say we may still have 1 or 2 more battles before this one's over inside the top 10. Looking at the lap times last time by, obviously the leaders are kind of in a league of their own right now. Austin Queen was close, about a tenth off them. But Scott Carapolati, I wasn't sure if he was going to be able to make up that gap, but looking at the differential, he knocked off 4 tenths that time to Anthony Stifler. So a top 6, maybe a top 5 run in the works for Scott Carapolati if he stays on it here with 4 minutes plus 2 laps to go, as we stay glued here to 2nd and 3rd Ryan Kastner and John Bonanno, who I don't know if you'll see either one really start to duel just yet. You know, there's no real benefit for Bonanno to go by at this point. Him and Kastner are pretty identical on times. They're not making up any ground, unfortunately, to David Goldman. So going in front would literally just flip the order. It wouldn't necessarily, I don't think, give him a bigger gap. And if anything, he's kind of benefiting right now, being able to brake a little bit earlier and take care of those front tires by letting the draft pull him back up on the straightaways to Kastner's bumper.
Yeah, so definitely interesting there. And then all out there on his own is Austin Queen in the Burrell Art Machine. And there you see Montopoli already. He's just got caught up by Anthony Stifler. So Stifler right behind him. And definitely gonna try and look for a move, try to get a top 5 spot here at some point, because Montopoli currently on the edge there in the 5th spot in his 265 machine. But for Anthony Stifler, just not close enough as of yet. Same thing as John Bonanno, right? Isn't gaining too much and isn't losing a lot. Taking care of his tires here at the moment. So let's see what it looks like in turn number 1. Still staying patient. So yeah, I mean, just taking care of his tires there for the 269 of Anthony Stifler. Well,
he's got a different situation, to be fair, because he's got Scott Carapolati gaining on both of them, or at least he did. Carapolati was still faster the last lap than Montopoli, but only by a tenth. So he's made up some ground, then kind of faded back. 1.7 seconds away. He needs about 2 tenths, maybe 3 tenths a lap to catch that duo. Still been a great drive up the grid here. I think it's a 7-spot net gain for Scott Carapolati in this KA Masters main event. So the 206 rolling up the grid. He'll get a top 10 out of this if it all ends the same. He might get a top 5 if Stifler goes. Here he does in the inside in turn number 1, or down the inside, and looking back on him is Montopoli. So this is what Scott Carapolati needed to kind of launch himself a little bit closer to this duo. Anthony Stifler going by Paul Montopoli for the 5th position here on the racetrack, and Montopoli down to 6th, and Scott Carapolati on that pink and purple Cosmic is now just barely fitting in our frame. And at the same time, we have seen a change for 2nd. John Bonanno, I wasn't sure if he wanted to pull the trigger this early. Obviously, he feels like he might be able to pull a little bit of a gap to Ryan Kastner, not have to defend that position on the final 2 laps. So he's gone ahead of the Maranello. And this is a risk versus reward here, Caleb, because if you're in John Bonanno's position and you think that you're maybe a half tenth or tenth better than Ryan Kastner, and you go in front of him, but you're not necessarily fast enough to break the toe, Ryan can make adjustments to his line, see the way you're driving, and change how he's driving to match that and kind of stay with you. So Whereas before, Bonanno's been behind Kastner pretty much all weekend. Kastner had no idea if Bonanno was doing anything different than he was. He was braking differently, turning in at different points, taking any kind of different lines. He's now getting to see that, and you can see right here, he's right back on the bumper of Bonanno with 50 seconds to go. So you're kind of gambling on yourself when you're in this kind of position that John Bonanno was, where you say, you know what, I think I can get in front of him and I can drive away because I think I'm fast enough that he won't be able to catch me if I pass him now. And he's obviously not going to fight the pass in the middle of the race here. So, unfortunately for Bonanno, Kastner is staying there, and he is still going to be close enough. The other good part, at least for the leader, is what we've seen is if you're able to position the kart right, you can make that kart pretty wide. We've seen that in a few races this weekend as well, where defending is seemingly easy enough on this racetrack. It's wide where you can get some over-unders done, but we've seen, I feel like, more battles won by the guy in front than the guy chasing.
Yeah, correct. For John Bonanno now, it's turned into a lead and follow session, like you said. So pulling away here a little bit. Let's see if he has more endurance than Ryan Kastner as they get to the closing stages of this race. I believe it is 2 laps to go if they did get it. They're 20 laps into this race, so you can only imagine how these drivers are feeling at this stage of the race. And there's Scott Carapolati, who is catching up to Paul Montepoli there ahead for that 6th spot. Anthony Stifler kind of left Paul Montepoli in the win there for that 6th spot. And there you have it. I mean, they're still pretty close. I was mistaken. They're still pretty close there for the drivers in 5th, 6th, and 7th for the edge of the top 5.
Well, there it is. 2 laps to go now here as the timers hit 0. David Goldman's lead continues at 3.5 seconds up the road. A dominating performance for him. The battle for second has opened up a little bit, but Kastner still getting a really good run through this bus stop. He gets a good exit out of it each time. He's able to get onto the bumper of Bonanno, but he hasn't made that kind of counter attempt to retake second. And we're going to get down where, with that white flag waving, maybe Bonanno will start to fade low and defend that spot because Kastner could throw it in at any given point. He hasn't tried it yet. Does he try it here? About a car length away. That would have been a bit overzealous probably to go into that last turn. So Bonanno definitely better coming out of the S's. Kastner maybe needs to work on that on this last lap, although Bonanno did fade low there in turn 1 as David Goldman heads for turn number 5 on this final lap. He's done such a great job all weekend. I mean, his Stars Championship Series debut, 3.7 seconds and counting here on the margin, and on this final lap, John Bonanno has pulled back away from Kastner by 2 car lengths down the backstretch. Really 2 major passing zones coming up. This first of the 2 right here is turn number 10. Kastner won't be close enough. The last turn will be the last opportunity. There's still that battle for 5th going on as well as the fight for 2nd. But all the while, out of the final turn, David Goldman on debut dominates the main event in KA Masters. He wins the Queen City Gambit. And John Bonanno hangs on for 2nd over Ryan Kastner in 3rd. Austin Queen salvages the weekend there with a good drive forward in the final. And at the line, a good little run. Montopoli just comes up a couple hundred short to Anthony Stifler. Scott Carapolati arrives with just a couple more laps he needed to kind of get there. Ends up 7th, 4/10 back from a top 5. That would have been a really, really well put together drive and a good end of the weekend. Still at least better than his ending to Saturday with the DNF for Scott. So congratulations to the 206 to end P7. But how about that 23 laps, Caleb?
Wow, David Goldman, 23 laps. The fastest lap of the race was that last lap for David Goldman. Fairy tale ending for him in his first Stars Championship Racing Series start. He takes the win and is your big winner here in KA Masters. What a race by David Goldman, the Philly native. Definitely going to be happy with that one.
So there is a look into the scales at David Goldman here as he takes the helmet off. There's Dave Coates there, one of the Stars Series officials, giving him that number 1 plate to report to post-race tech inspection. They will roll that scale line on through, and he's just got to make sure he makes minimum weight and goes into post-race tech, and it'll be official for David Goldman as the winner. And there he is. He's clear. So the 278, the Team Ferris Racing depth card. David Goldman is our first winner on the day here in the Queen City Gambit. Congratulations to the Team Ferris Racing camp and to David Goldman. A win on debut, and Well, now, whether or not he was planning on running the full series, he's got to run the full series. That is an awesome way to start your 2024 championship here. 18 drivers in KA Masters. We end up finishing with unfortunately down at 11, as there were a few more that got flagged off there at the end. Tom Gersner, Kevin Simonelli, Bob Davis were on the verge of going a lap down, so they cleared them out. But let's go over and hear from our first main event winner of the day, Alex.
Thank you, Xander. Dave, I mean, I'd say it was a pretty solid weekend for you overall, right? You had good battles with Kastner and Bonanno throughout the weekend, but today, what made the difference?
Yeah, I think we made a couple changes, one on gearing, which I think really helped. Looking over the video, I also really nailed a couple corners that I've been struggling a bit this weekend, and I think that made the difference, so I was able to just pull away.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
There you go from David Goldman here, and now we go from the oldest age group in the single speed categories to the youngest. How about it for the Micro Swifts? Easton Kubinski has the engine fired. He is ready to try and take that AEM EOS kart to the front, but there's one kid standing in the way. He has been the #1 prospect in this class so far in 2024. Zane Burgess in the number 55 Sodi Racing USA machine is ready to go. A great drive in that pre-final yesterday. He did not seem to be having that outright pace that we've known him for in the first few months of this year, Caleb, until that pre-final yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, yesterday, I mean, having to make some moves throughout the pre-final, got them done, easily for him. And then when he got to the lead, didn't look back, defended perfectly, held everybody up, and did a great job of doing so. So, going to be a great race for these Micro Swifts. Let's run you down your field. It's Zane Burgess and Easton Kubinski on the front row with Santiago Orioli and Jake Manalio on the second row.
Wynn Godshock had a good run in yesterday's pre-final. The Bennett driver will start inside the top 5 on the inside of row 3 alongside MPG Academy's Danny O'Gara. Then row number 4 is an all BJR MDR lockout. Lawrence Perriman on the inside and Parker Stewart, who has not fallen outside the top 10 all weekend, in 8th.
And it's Bertie Stoffel and Kason Henderson on row 5, Marcelo Flores and Dominic Gaddis on the 6th row.
Kristen Thomason was the first driver out, eager to get onto the racetrack in morning warm-up this morning. The 77 Kart Republic is joined on row 7 by Ruben Greer. And then Camden Clay will start on the inside of row 8 alongside Dominic Nagel.
And it's Slate Harrow and Zev Gottschalk, the 6-year-old, starting on row number 9 alongside Logan McCloskey and Axel Garcia, running up your top 20 starters. Then you go back to Williamson, Willie, Simon Ellick, Wilson, Zeminski, Thomason, and more, getting set to take the green flag in this Micro Stars class. Into the tram lines we go. And I think they did get the green flag that time by, and Zane Burgess doesn't and loses the lead there. It's Santi Orioli who goes to the point.
Yeah, a late kind of form up by the pole man. Zane Burgess had a few of the drivers kind of lacking, but I think that helped keep that start clean with the last few stragglers catching up. So as they rocket down the backstretch for the first time, it's Orioli to Kubinski, two back to Burgess, and a pass for 4th. Danny O'Gara gets through. Great start for the 67 machine as he leads the second pack. Parker Stewart under
the chicane, and let's see what it looks like. The chicane, and let's see what it looks like coming into the bus stop. Zane Burgess definitely going to be in striking distance to Santi Orioli on this back straightaway. If Orioli doesn't decide to go, he turned around, saw Burgess was right there, so definitely going to want to push Kubinski here in this one.
Yeah, Zane Burgess now onto the bumper of Santi Orioli, who's going to look for the lead back in turn 10. Burgess follows, Kubinski to 3rd, Orioli back to the lead, and as they head to turn number 14, nothing there. Single file for the top 3, starting to mix it up just a little bit, and that's that kind of action that second group needs with Danny O'Gara and Jake Manalio to try and catch on up. At the line, did they pick up anything that time by? And not too much, still about 1.5 seconds away here with that last lap completed. So Orioli, Burgess, two drivers that have dueled many times this year. Here's 4th and 5th with O'Gara and Manalio, then Gottschalk, then Perriman, and then you have Brody Stoffel, who's gone around Parker Stewart for that 8th position, I believe. So Stewart there fading a little bit as Orioli takes us through turns 10 and 11. A 3-car pack up front, a bit spread out to the rest of the pack now as they head through the S's once again to turn 14.
Yeah, these two drivers, I mean, they're going to push each other here and try and keep Danny O'Gara at bay. O'Gara really needs them to fight. We've seen whenever passes are made, the drivers lose a lot of time. It's almost half a second that you could lose if you fight through the first couple of sections. So that's really what Danny O'Gara needs, right? He's not, Jake Manalio not close enough behind him to push him forward. So O'Gara really needs the top three to start fighting and to, just start mobbing each other so he can catch up to the top three.
So it hasn't updated on the left side pylon, but Parker Stewart now down in the 12th position, dropping like a rock here in the opening few laps. Unfortunate for the 22 car as the top three roll through. There's O'Gara, Manalio, Gottschalk, Perriman going to have Brody Stoffel on the move. Then there's Marcelo Flores. There is the 22 of Parker Stewart, who has fallen back a little bit at the start of this main event. A lot of time to go, but he's by himself right now and not in any major group, so that will make it 10 times harder to try and catch back up to the rest of the pack, as now it begins to update there on screen. He drops all the way down there to the 11th or 12th position as it follows. Still Orioli to Kubinski and Burgess. Brody Stoffel getting around Lawrence Perriman. We know how fast that 29 car was in warm-up. Brody Stoffel was very impressive in that practice session this morning. They definitely found some more speed for that young man overnight. And now Brody Stoffel in the top 10, in 8th, in 7th, ahead of Lawrence Perriman. Next driver on the chopping block he's got to track down is Win Gottschalk, who is about 9/10 up the road right now. But there's still so much time left. So much could happen as a good start for the young drivers here in the Microslift category, all continuing to roll right now. And we've got maybe a little bit of a battle forming for 4th as well, as Jake Manalio has started to catch up to Danny O'Gara.
Yeah, and Stoffel already putting a gap there on Lawrence Perriman. So it seems to be whatever setup they have in that 55 of Zane Burgess, it's pretty similar for Brody Stoffel in the 29, because he's closing down the gap to Win Gottschalk here at the moment, who currently sits in 6th. And O'Gara, like you said, losing time to Jake Manalio here. They're going to have to work together if they want to catch the top three ahead. Both Kart Republics, let's see if they decide to work together or are going to start fighting, because if they do start fighting, Win Gottschalk going to be there, and Brody Stoffel, who's really quick and lapping a little bit quicker than those two drivers, will probably be there in the end.
Jake Manalio last time by a 45.62. That was within half a tenth, within a quarter tenth of the leaders. So the TFR Kart Republic is going. He's just 2 seconds away, so he needs a lot to happen up front. O'Gara popping the curb, little mistake in turn number 2 is going to bring Jake closer, and he'll get right to the rear bumper now towards the bus stop, as O'Gara still hanging on to that 4th position for now. Down the backstretch, all three of the leaders seem to be happy riding in the positions they are, with a long race ahead here and no one breaking away. No rush needed here for Zane Burgess or Easton Kubinski. They can let Santi kind of tow them around and add on to the gap that they've already started to build back to 4th and 6th. 5th and 6th, I should say. 4th, 5th, and 6th right there. Danny O'Gara, Jake Manalio is going to look for 4th here down the front stretch, and that'll be easy. P4 for the 91. Jake Manalio gets through down in turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, it could be tire pressures for Jake Manalio. Was pretty slow at the start, but midway through this race has come into life and already made that move on Danny O'Gara, who was quick at the start. So could it be a little bit of a difference there? Maybe some higher tire pressure for Danny O'Gara to start the race, and now those tires starting to get overheating and just a little bit greasy for O'Gara, or just doesn't have help, doesn't have anybody in front of him to show him the racetrack. He has a top 3, but they're just a little bit ways too far ahead. Yeah,
the pace is there now for Jake Manalio, but that slow start, like you said, that's what's cost him. That's the gap right now. He needs Danny O'Gara to hopefully follow and push him, and maybe bank on some more shuffling for the lead. If they get it, they have a chance, but right now they're not. They're all just happy to stay tucked in line, push away, keep working together. That time by Manalio did go quicker than the leaders. He picked up a 10th, so he's 2.7 seconds back. We'll keep a tab on the margin from that first group to the second duo, and already Manalio starting to break away from Danny O'Gara's MPG Academy Kart Republic. And behind him, Win Gottschalk just kind of by himself on the Bennick, the 25 car in 6th. He's got no help at the moment here. There's your leaders through 10 and 11. It is Gottschalk, only about 1.2 seconds up the road from Brody Stoffel, whose forward progress has kind of stalled out there in that 7th position. Still a respectable run for the Sodi Racing USA pilot. Across the line here as we hit about halfway in, and that is a really fast time just set by the leaders. They added 2 more tenths to Jake Manalio last time by. Lawrence Perriman, you mentioned how he was starting to fade back from Brody Stoffel. He just hit a good lap that time, only a 10th off the pace of Stoffel, closing the gap I think, up until last lap when it opened up again. About a half-second difference from Lawrence Perriman up the road to Brody Stoffel. So getting to follow him, getting a little bit of that toe help down the backstretch, definitely keeping him relatively close. Then it's about 2 seconds away to Dominic Gaddis, and another 2 seconds to find Marcelo Flores on the number 5 Kart Republic, who is getting reeled back in by Parker Stewart. As of last time by, Stewart picked up half a second on him.
Yeah, so 2 talking points for both of those Team Ferris racing machines, Parker Stewart and the BJR MDR LN car. So could have been tire pressures early on to start this one. We did see, a little bit of a hectic start there. So it could be a lot of things for these drivers, already on the back foot to start the race. And for Zane Burgess, just having Santiago Orioli show him the racetrack. Burgess learning a lot from the line of that MPG Academy driver ahead of him, seeing where he's weaker than Burgess. Burgess is kind of biding his time, seeing where he can make a move, seeing where Orioli is a little bit slower than Burgess, seeing his line. So Burgess, just learning a lot and taking a lot from this almost lead and follow session that Santiago Orioli is putting on.
And folks, again, if you're just joining us, this is only main event number 2. We've got a lot of racing coming your way here today, folks. We've got all these semi-pro mains and then the pro show in the afternoon presented by Mazda Motorsports. Santiago Orioli, Zane Burgess, Easton Kubinski taking their time, 5.5 minutes plus 2 laps to go here in this final as they go towards the bus stop chicane. Manolio now has Danny O'Gara back on his rear bumper. They're 2.9 seconds back. Last time by, they picked back up a 10th on the leaders, so they lost 2 tenths, lost another 10th, gained a 10th back, just kind of holding station around 3 seconds away from the leading trio. And they are pulling away quite a bit from Wynn Godshock. They put a half second on Wynn last time by, so the Bennett driver, sadly a top 5, he'll have to bank on some penalties or attrition or carnage to move himself back further. This podium fight, though, we're just kind of counting down the minutes, and I'm sure they're doing the same. That's, again, one of those benefits of those Track System North America's lighting scoreboards that they have on the finish line. These 3 drivers here, whether or not they're checking their microns all that often during a regular race, some of the other championships that we see them in this weekend here for the Stars Championship Series at all 4 rounds. This was introduced, I believe, 2 seasons ago and built upon last year, if I'm not mistaken, where the drivers now can see the exact amount of time remaining in the race every time they cross the start-finish line. We did see, finally, a change for the lead, though. Zane Burgess and Easton Kubinski have now gone by Santiago Orioli here with 4.5 minutes to go. So first pass for the lead in about 10 laps as we work to the end of lap 14. And there's a little gap there from Kubinski back to Orioli, Caleb.
Yeah, so a little bit of a gap. I'm wondering if Orioli made some sort of mistake, but Burgess and Kubinski now working together and pulling away here a little bit from Orioli, who's has a couple car lengths in between himself and that rear bumper of the AEM OTK of Easton Kubinski. So some work to do for Santiago Orioli, but for the likes of Danny O'Gara and Jake Manolio, just a little bit too far back to continue to close down their gap to the top 3 here at the moment. The big difference I'm really seeing in between these top 3, they're super consistent with their lap times. For Zane Burgess, hitting his marks, not missing his marks at all. Super consistent, same lap, and always laps in between the same 3 tenths. For the likes of Danny O'Gara and Jake Manolio, they're kind of, up and down. They go quick one lap, maybe make a mistake or go side by side for a second there, and they lose some time to Zane Burgess, Kubinski, and Orioli. So that's the only big difference that I'm seeing there. Zane Burgess knew he had to make the move, though, on Orioli, and, I mean, it's done him well because he just went purple, a 45.439, the quickest anybody's seen all race, and that's the number 77 there who goes off the racetrack and loses a lot of time there.
That was Louis Thomasian. He was in 21st and has spun around in turns 10 and 11. He'll get back going, tail end of the field for Louis. So a bit of a bummer there for his first main event of the Stars season. Now, Orioli did get a really good final sector this lap. Picked back up some time, closed up that gap here, and getting back into his rhythm after losing the lead earlier on. So the number 6 car now back to a couple car lengths away. Picked up a 10.5 on race leader Zane Burgess last time by. Burgess, like you said, he did do a 45.4. That lap, a 45.6. So if he's able to consistently hit the 45.4s, he might have been able to break away, but that little difference in lap time, that's allowed Orioli to get some new life and stay in striking distance, stay within range. Black flag came out that time. I believe that was for Louis Thomasian in the 7. They have pulled him off the racetrack as he was going to be potential lap traffic for your race leaders. 2 minutes plus 2 laps to go. No other battles really on the racetrack. I believe Dominic Gaddis may have caught and passed Lawrence Perriman for the 8th position. That was the only other change in the top 10 that we have seen recently, besides Parker Stewart, who was able to move back up the order. Marcelo Flores faded down to 14th last time around, so minute 44 to go. There's this leading trio. There's 2 together with Manalio and O'Gara. Little gap from Wynn Godshock back to Brody Stoffel, who's been slowly tracking him down for that 6th position. Dominic Gaddis now ahead of Lawrence Perriman for the 8th spot, and then a 3-car pack with Parker Stewart, Slate Harrell, and Kaysen Hendrickson, 10th, 11th, and 12th. Minute 20 left. Orioli starting to fall back away. Last time by, he gave up a 10th. This time, another 10th. If Easton Kubinski stays glued to the bumper of Zane Burgess, and like he has been, they're already up to 8 tenths now. They just hit their fastest laps of the race, another 45.4. Santi Orioli doing everything he can, but he just can't hang with them here, Caleb. This might come down to a 2-driver fight.
Yeah, for Santiago Orioli, he's fading and fading fast here in this one. 3 tenths off the pace that Zane Burgess and Easton Kubinski are putting down here right now. And last time by, Burgess went even quicker than his previous fast lap that he had, a 45.400. And Easton Kubinski matching that, just 7 thousandths of a second off. So these 2 drivers pulling away and still on the same 10th of a second, and pulling away from Santi Orioli, who's officially out of towing range now, and just now getting the dirty air from the 2 drivers ahead of him. So unfortunate for the MPG driver there of Santi Orioli, as Easton Kubinski now sets the fastest lap of the race with a 45.366. So these drivers aren't slowing down at all and continue to push each other forward. For Easton Kubinski, he's learned a lot from Zane Burgess in this time here. He's going to know, like when Zane Burgess was behind Orioli, Burgess learned from Orioli, saw where he was weak, took advantage of it, took the lead, and Orioli fell back and out of the picture. This time for Easton Kubinski, he's the one in that 2nd spot. He's learning from Zane Burgess now. He's been behind him almost all race long. So for Easton Kubinski, learning a lot from Zane Burgess here, seeing where Zane Burgess is weak, see if he has any weaknesses, if there is any, because we know how quick that 55 Sodi Racing USA machine has been. But this time when they cross the line, they're going to have 2 laps to go. The gloves are going to get thrown off, and Easton Kubinski is going to try and make a move on Brody Stoffel. Not Brody Stoffel, on Zane Burgess here in his Sodi Racing USA machine.
He needs to make sure that he gets better through the bus stop. That right there is a really strong point, a really big strong point for Zane. Big run down the backstretch for Easton Kubinski. He closed the gap back up to him, but he wasn't close enough, I don't think, or he could have maybe made a move in turn number 8. Here through turn number 10, Zane's going in a lot deeper and still carrying that speed on exit. So Sodi's got 1 bullet in the gun. The same for AEM karting with the EOS kart of Easton Kubinski. A car length between them, 1 lap to go. White flag in the air. It's time to dance, boys. Burgess to the low side to defend. Kubinski trying to cross over, not close enough there in turns 1 and 2. He'll lose a little ground through 3 and 4. Burgess now by 3 car lengths as they head to the short chute.
Zane Burgess, whatever he did there to defend, definitely helped him out. Easton Kubinski got thrown all out of his momentum and is losing a lot of time there to Zane Burgess as they get down the back straightaway. Zane Burgess with almost 5 car lengths in between himself and Easton Kubinski here at the moment. Doesn't even have to defend in the hairpin. And Zane Burgess, whatever he did in turn 1, helped him out because he has a big gap here.
Yeah, final time, last turn. Zane Burgess is headed for home, and it's another checkered flag in 2024. This time, the Queen City Gambit goes to Zane Burgess. Kubinski with the next best finish there in 2nd, Orioli 3rd, and Jake Manalio. Danny O'Gara fighting for 4th there, coming to the line. Manalio gets it. O'Gara's 5th. Godshock hangs on for 6th over Brody Stoffel. Dominic Gaddis hangs on over Lawrence Perriman there at the line for 8th. Parker Stewart in this big group with Zev Godshock. Godshock gets the spot away there at the line. Zev Godshock steals the 10th place run there. Slate Harrell 11th, Parker Stewart 12th, Kaysen Hendrickson 13th, Kristen Thomasian 14th, Camden Clay 15th. So just like that, 2 main events in the books, and Zane has done it again. He didn't start the weekend super quick. A qualifying effort outside the top 5, a couple heat races where he was close, but it all came together in yesterday's pre-final where he charged to the field. And here in the main, great sign of congratulations there and sportsmanship from Easton Kubinski saying, hey, good job. You had my number today. I tried to race it, tried to make it and still got a podium out of it all. Congratulations to Easton Kubinski for his first career Stars Championship Series podium, and another podium as well for Santi Orioli. But Zane Burgess, calm and collected. That's business as usual here for him, it feels like, in 2024. This has been a kid that has been on top for more times than not this season.
Yeah, and just like the name, just how his name is there on the back of his suit, in Zane driving by him here in this one. Unfortunate for Santi Orioli, just didn't have the pace today to contend with Zane Burgess and Easton Kubinski.
They'll roll them through the scale line. No penalties there. A very clean start, a very clean race altogether for the Micro Swift drivers. A few drivers got flagged off for going close to going a lap down. So that's where a lot of those DNFs came from. But very good racing there at the front of the field there, especially for your top three coming to the line. A great finish for Jake Manalio there, a P4. Danny O'Gara ends up in the 5th spot there on the MPG Academy, number 67. A top 5 result for Danny to start this season, but obviously he was hoping for just a little bit more than what he was able to get here in today's main event. Win Godshock 6th, Brody Stoffel 7th, then Dominic Gaddis, Lawrence Perriman, and Zev Godshock stealing that top 10 spot away. Great performance from one of the younger drivers on the grid. You can see he's a full head shorter than Lawrence Perriman. 6 years old. Congratulations, Zev Godshock, for getting that top 10 there at the very end on the Team Bennick number 21. Congratulations to Zev. And, oh, wow, we got a little bit of craziness here on the grid. That's Jake Fetter rushing to the grid right now for the Shifter Masters. Getting a quick little workout in, quick little pump there as he's bringing, looks like a set of maybe tools or parts for Jake Fetter in the comp cart. I don't know what the issue is.
I think it may be nuts and bolts here. He may be missing some on the weight or whatever it may be, but these shifters are already getting fired up here in this one.
Yeah, this is a disaster for, unfortunately, Jake Fetter as they try to quickly figure out what they need there on that Timmy Tech comp cart on the grid. And I don't know, they're working around the exhaust. It looks like I'm not sure what we've got. Obviously, he's blocking that, trying to get that thing fixed up. They just fired up the motors, so the Shifter Masters are getting set to go green here, folks.
Oh, wow.
And Jake Fetter, this is an emergency right now for one of our top starters, as up at the front, you can already see the 1 minute signal was given by Justin Newcomb. They're going to roll on time, which means we may lose one of our top 10 starting drivers here in the Shifter Master class. Jake Fetter has led laps this week, and he has run at the front of the field on his Shifter debut, but disaster for the 613 comp cart here right before this main event gets going, and I think they are about ready to give them the command to roll off the grid, which means he'll get 90 seconds. So there's a look at how they'll line up, and there they go. Fetter continuing to scramble there behind the screen, but it's Skitchy Barnes and Brian Chatfield for a Maranello lockout of row number 1. Matt Machiko, Jake Fetter was slated to start 4th. But if he doesn't get going here in a moment, he'll have to surrender that spot. If he gets on the racetrack at all, he'll start at the rear, joining Joe Ruck back there. So that is, again, a disaster for Jake Fetter. And as they're trying to figure out what they need there to get that motor fired up, there he is into the seat. Going to fire. Oh, no gloves. He needs his gloves on before he rolls away.
There's Alex Searles right next to there, so hopefully Alex can get us some intel here during this one and see what the issue was for Jake Fetter. But he's able to get going here in this one, so hopefully he can make it onto the grid on time. And he's gonna have to surrender his spot. I mean, they're gonna make it to the commitment cone before, so he's definitely gonna have to start at the tail end of the field here in this one as they get one more lap before they get going.
Yeah, one full warm-up lap is the only saving grace for Jake Fetter. He's gonna have to hustle right now, charge his way around the racetrack and try to get up to the leaders. Thankfully, Brian Chatfield's taking his sweet time right now, slowly warming that Maranello USA entry up. Matt Machiko, again, will get to start in front of him. Scott Presti, Mike Rivera then on the 3rd row. Ryan Frank, Morn Van Talk, Osley Sheik the 3rd there, starting in the 9th spot. Kelly Johnson, Luis Quinones, Hugh Templeman, Bradley Danoff, Joe Ruck is going to start all the way back on row number 7. But be prepared for that number 1 plate to start to move his way up the grid very quickly. We know how fast he is. It was the bolt holder on the shift linkage that was loose for Jake Fetter. So the shift linkage bolt holder was loose. They tightened it back up. He's on the circuit now and just trying to warm it back up, but he'll have to start tail end. So now we've got 2 fast guys coming from the back of the field. This is going to be an interesting Shifter Master main event to watch, Caleb.
Yeah, definitely interesting, and not what Jake Fetter would have wanted on one of his first national shifter starts. of the year, but Skitchy Barnes going to be accompanied alongside a teammate with Brian Chatfield on the front row, and that second row going to be empty as Jake Fetter going to have to surrender his starting spot here.
Yeah, he's passed up a couple there at the back, but at the commitment cone, I don't know if Jake is familiar that he is not allowed to go to his spot. He's pulling in, and if he starts there, then it would be a penalty for Jake Fetter coming his way, because this is advancing your position after the commitment cone. Either way, unofficially, we've got them all lined up. Here we go to the Track System North America lights and to the gearbox for the Shifter Master main event. Here we go. Skitchy Barnes, Brian Chatfield. Chatfield with a heck of a hole shot from the outside lane. He'll take the lead through turns 1 and 2. Barnes the second, Machiko third, Fetter in fourth there on the Timmy Tech Comp Card as they head to the short chute ahead of Scott Presti, Mike Rivera, and more. Everyone getting away off the line cleanly.
Yeah, not a bad start for Machiko to slot himself up into that third spot. We've seen him have a single lap pace. Let's see what it looks like across 20 minutes. You see, taking his normal line there on the outside, so let's see what it looks like for Machiko. More movement further back. Joe Ruck already making moves there. Jake Fetter still in that fourth spot, but he's going to fall under fire to the 608 of Scott Presti here shortly. For Presti, not close enough. It's the double right-hander. Machiko a little bit wide there on exit, but able to hold on to his third place spot there.
Skitchy Barnes under fire already. That group is right on his heels, headed through turns 2, 3, and 4. Let's see if Scott Presti is close enough for a dive on Jake Fetter here in the bus stop. Not quite, but he'll get right up to the rear. Matt Machiko to the same to Skitchy Barnes down the backstretch. Machiko going to look low. Presti looks low on Fetter. Side by side coming out of turn 8. And it'll go back the way of Fetter through the kink here, just barely. Hanging on for fourth as he covers off the low side. Presti trying to get around him. Here's Joe Ruck. He's already gotten into ninth. So the number 1 plate climbing up 4 spots, 5 spots already, and digging for more. Here's another one as he slides it down the inside on the 668 of Morton Van Talk. That's for P8 for Joe Ruck here at the end of lap number 2.
Yeah, so next on the list there for Joe Ruck, it's going to be Ryan Frank in that 7th spot. So Joe Ruck already making up a lot of time here in this one. Scott Presti still behind Jake Fetter, not able to make the move as of yet. Has been close, was side by side for a second, but just can't get clear. Oh, can he get clear this time by into turn number 8? He does. Scott Presti gets through. Jake Fetter over under move, not close enough this time by.
And this is great news here for Joe Ruck for the battling in the middle, especially as well for the fact that Skitchy Barnes did not get the jump off the line, because it was all Joe and Skitchy in that pre-final. And Barnes right now trapped behind Brian Chatfield, who is still doing a good job out front leading. And now Barnes is under fire. Machiko not able to get the job done in turn 1. He looked low, just wasn't deep enough on the brakes, wasn't brave enough on that dirty inside part of the racetrack. They stay the same. And this is all just allowing Joe Ruck to stay close. He's only 2.5 seconds back. Barnes with a great run out of the bus stop on the bumper, looking for the lead. Turn 8, still door to door with Chatfield there as they rocket towards the bend. Can Chatfield get it back? He does. Through the kink there, Chatfield holds. Machiko under fire from Presti, who goes a little wide in turn 10. And this again just all bottling up the leaders as they go to 14. Little bumper there to Machiko from Presti. They're going to drag race out. Presti gets the momentum on the high side. He'll stay in the 3rd spot down to turn 1, defending low from the RS Kart. The VTM Racing Team driver, Scott Presti, is fast right now here off the start. But the fastest lap is still Joe Ruck at a 41.3.
And you would think we're already watching our pro stars. These are just the masters of pro rock and shifter. So a very good race. There goes Scott Presti on the inside once again on Matt Machiko, able to get clear. Machiko over under move, side by side in between the two of them up the hill. And what an over under there by Matt Machiko to retake that 3rd spot.
Heads up driving from the Magic Car driver to get back to 3rd. Joe Ruck now on the bumper of Ryan Frank for the 7th spot as the leaders head through 14. Ruck was not able to get to the inside there. Let's see if he's close enough to send it in turn 1. He's a little ways back and not going to be the move made yet. Through 1 and 2, Joe Ruck half a car length away from another spot closer towards the leaders. He's now 2.1 seconds back through the bus stop chicane. This is where it'll get a little tougher to start making some forward progress, because you're getting to the faster and faster drivers on the racetrack. Here in turn 8, he's going to try it. They're door to door, still drag racing out of the corner. Ruck arcing the bend, he'll get around him. So Ruck to 7th, Ryan Frank back to the 8th position now as Joe Ruck continues to go up the grid here. He's up 7 spots net as Presti defending low for Matt Machiko and hanging on. Machiko was on the outside there as I think Presti might have missed a shift coming through the S's. So Machiko got a run at him. But the number 1 plate continuing to drive forward. 2.4 seconds out of the lead, and still with a shot here as he's in the middle of this 8-car train.
Yeah, next on his list is Mike Rivera, the other number 1 plate holder on the Rock shifter package. So let's see what it looks like for Joe Rock and how far he is. A couple of car lengths in between himself and Mike Rivera in his Rivera Racing GFC. So still some work to do for Joe Rock, who's currently 7th, looking to work his way up in a 6th. Mike Rivera really close to Jake Fetter here, who's, like we said, one of the rookies in this master class. Going to fall under fire to Mike Rivera here shortly.
A lot of rear brake buys for Joe Ruck. You saw him nearly lift that inside front tire off the ground with how sideways he was going into turn number 14. He is pushing that Maranello kart to try and get more speed, but last time by he lost a little bit as the leaders are starting to come into their own. New personal best for Brian Chatfield, a 41.31. That's 1/100th better than Joe's personal best in this session. And that was a 10th better than Ruck last time. But if he can clean himself back up, he'll be okay. Hugh Templeman is out. The Magic card off the racetrack in the S's. A bummer for the 2022 Rock Shifter champion, Hugh Templeman, out of the main event here for Shifter Masters in Charlotte as Chatfield and Barnes continue to lead. Only a couple of car lengths between them. We've got 9 minutes and plus 2 laps still to go. Lots of time left for the man from Bermuda to try and work his way past the KZ-powered teammate of his in Chatfield with a run as Chatfield bobble in the bus stop. And there it is. Scott Skitchy Barnes gets through for the lead in turn 8. And we've got a change up front for the first time here in this Shifter Master main event.
Yeah, and Barnes knew he had to go. He was 2/10 quicker than Brian Chatfield the last time by. He got a good run there out of the bus stop and then was able to get the move done in turn 8. But now for Chatfield, he's going to fall under fire to Scott Presti here because for Chatfield lost a lot of time there after getting passed by Skitchy Barnes, who's already going defensive, and that may not be the best thing to do as they go side by side. Chatfield and Skitchy Barnes already losing time to Scott Presti, and Chatfield retakes the lead, but Scott Presti, welcome to the party. Machiko is back. Side by side in between himself and Presti. Machiko up to P3.
Skitchy Barnes, I don't think realized he had such a big gap in turn 1 that I don't think his teammate was going to try and send it on him. But he defended anyway, and it cost him as Chatfield retakes the lead. And Joe Ruck now at the end of this group as they are all bottled up for third behind Matt Machiko. Presti there in the red and white. Jake Fetter in the blue and yellow. And Mike Rivera, the reigning Rock Shifter Master champion, in the 6th spot, having his best run so far this weekend there as Ruck goes a little bit wide. Slides the rear end coming out of turn 14.
Yeah, and you see the tighter line that Matt Machiko's taking almost everywhere on this racetrack, shortening it by a lot. It's been working for him all weekend long, but you see the difference in between other drivers from what they're doing compared to Matt Machiko.
Yeah, and this is a big gain here in this main event for Brian Chatfield. That last little bit that he needed to run with Joe Ruck and Skitchy in the pre-final. New tires for everyone here in the main event, kind of level the playing field back out. And Chatfield is taking the fight right to Skitchy and keeping him honest. Here comes Barnes looking low in the last turn. He'll give a little elbow grease on the way by. Skitchy back to the lead there in turn 14. Let's see if he covers low again in turn 1. He does. Chatfield's going to set him up again. And again side by side, but this time Skitchy holds it into 3.
Yeah, and Chatfield needs to be careful there. We saw his teammate of Joe Rock lose his spark plug boot doing that exact same move, trying to get the move done on Skitchy Barnes and hop in that curb. So has to be careful for Chatfield. Has to be something that stays there on the back of his head. Scott Presti joining, going to look to push Chatfield through. Not close enough. Skitchy Barnes closes the door.
Yeah, and Chatfield was either defending or looking for the pass. He at least stayed in the same spot, but got a little sideways coming out of turn number 8, slid the rear, and now Skitchy's got a bit of breathing room. Let's see if Presti sends it. He's on the bumper. A little love tap there in turn 14, kind of knocks him loose. Knocks Chatfield loose, I should say. And here's Jake Fetter still looking on Matt Machiko. A little love tap there in the middle of turns 1 and 2. So all close together. 1.3 seconds separating the top 7 at the line, but Skitchy starting to pull away now, and that means that if Joe Ruck wants any shot at catching up to the lead, he's got to make something happen, but he has stalled out in 7th as Presti wants 2nd. He'll take it away from Chatfield in turn 8.
Yeah, and we're in deep waters now, Xander. This is where these drivers are going to start to feel tired and going to have to keep their head on them if they want to go all the way in this main event. They're going to start feeling the effects of the racetrack, and they're going to start to feel the tires to begin to fall off and grease over. So a lot of different things that these drivers are experiencing on the racetrack right now.
Now Machiko trying on Chatfield as Ruck tries on Rivera. Machiko does not get through. Ruck did get through. Joe Ruck to 6th. Chatfield still hanging on, but struggling now as he was wide, got the tires dirty when Scott Presti got by. Presti already starting to make some inroads towards Skitchy Barnes as well. He was a 10th better last time by. This one's not over yet as Jake Fetter was all over Matt Machiko out of turn 8. Oh, a little mistake there, a little wide for Scott Presti in turn 10. He's pushing the limits to try and hunt down Skitchy Barnes, but cannot afford a mistake like that as the fight for third rages on.
Yeah, the fight for third still going on here. Scott Presti with a good run there. Lap times, Scott Presti half a second quicker, sorry, not half a second, half a tenth quicker than Skitchy Barnes here at the moment the last time by. So for Presti, just kind of finding time on the racetrack, trying to see where he can break later than Skitchy Barnes and gain time on his KZ-powered Ralph Schumacher kart. For Joe Ruck, was able to get the move done on Mike Rivera, and now closing down that gap to the comp kart of Jake Fetter here. Yeah,
Jake Fetter now slipping back from Matt Machiko, who is still trapped behind Brian Chatfield in this midfield fight. There's some more gaps further down the pack as Matt Machiko with a big send and an over-under from Chatfield to hang on to it. Now Jake Fetter is going to have a run at Machiko. Here he goes inside, turn 1, clear. Jake Fetter to 4th. Machiko trying an over-under, doesn't do it. Now he'll be on the offline through the chicane. Can Ruck set him up in the short chute? He cannot. He's on the tail in the bus stop. Not quite there, I don't think, in the bus stop. No, stays behind Machiko. There's your leaders through turn number 8. Behind, Joe Ruck was on the bumper of Matt Machiko. Did he get him in turn 8? We'll find out in a moment as Skitchy and Presti are close together. And further back, finally, a little bit of breathing room for Chatfield and Fetter, as indeed Joe Ruck did get around Matt Machiko at the end of the back straightaway. He's into the top 5 now with 4 minutes plus 2 laps to go. He's running out of time to get to that podium.
And I tell you what, Scott Presti almost 2 tenths quicker than Skitchy Barnes the last time by. Scott Presti going to be there shortly, biding his time, learning where Skitchy Barnes is going slower than him. Like I said before, right? It's a lead and follow session. Skitchy Barnes leading the way, showing Scott Presti where he's slower and where Scott Presti can make the pounce.
You've seen the line change multiple times throughout the weekend here, just like me, Caleb. Now we're seeing these guys go to the center of the racetrack coming out of turn number 8. Try to straddle the bumps on the right and the left side, was still arcing the bend at turn number 9, and a big slide there coming out of turn 14 for Skitchy. The rear tires are going away for the lead. Scott Presti not close enough in turn number 1.
Yeah, and Skitchy Barnes definitely going to see that the Ralph Schumacher is very close to him now, and you're going to wonder, when does Skitchy Barnes go defensive here in this race? We saw him go defensive earlier on today from his teammate in Brian Chatfield, and that hurt him going into the exit of turn number 1 and into turn number 2. So let's see what it looks like whenever they get to the main straightaway here once again. But for Scott Presti, going to have to regroup, going to have to get himself back together and try and close down that gap to Skitchy Barnes again.
Yeah, every time these guys go offline, it feels like they need a lap, maybe 2 laps to kind of coil back up again and clean those tires off. Good exit out of 14. Skitchy is definitely a little bit weaker out of that last turn, so Scott is setting him up, and Skitchy knows it. With 2 minutes plus 2 laps to go, Barnes was low that time in turn number 1 to kind of fend off any charge or any thought of a charge from Scott Presti. So Skitchy continuing to lead here in Shifter Masters. Scott Presti right there challenging. Car length, maybe 2 car lengths back at the end of the backstretch. They, even with the battling though, they have pulled away significantly from Brian Chatfield in the 3rd spot. Jake Fetter has about a 4 car length gap back to Joe Ruck. That is closing. Ruck was 2 tenths faster last time by than the 4th place driver. So Ruck might be able to get 1 more, maybe 2 more if he's absolutely flawless here at the end of this race. But the leaders with a 2-second cushion as Barnes and Presti round turns 1 and 2 again. And the gap has kind of stabilized back at a car length, although Presti, good run to the short chute. If he's good enough in this bus stop, he might have another run at him here on the backstretch, because you know that KZ, even with the 10-pound difference, seems to have a touch more top end than Skitchy Barnes on that rock shifter power plant.
Yeah, and I'm starting to think here, Xander, I mean, Skitchy Barnes didn't have the best of starts, was slow off the line, and I'm starting to think about tire pressure, right? Skitchy Barnes could have gone on a lower tire pressure. For Chatfield, he was really quick off the bat and off the rip, so I'm thinking Chatfield probably had a higher tire pressure, and now those tires are starting to overheat. Hence why he's falling off the pace here a little bit as Jake Fetter has issues, and that's going to move Joe Ruck up to the 4th spot. But for Jake Fetter on what's a debut year for him in the shifter category, unfortunate end here in Charlotte.
Yeah, a real somber ending there for Jake Fetter. Obviously, the franticness to just get onto the racetrack here was sketchy enough. And now he's going to fall all the way to the tail and I think probably pull into the pit lane this time as he drops to the last car on the lead lap behind Maxime Techon. And indeed, the Timmy Tech Comp Card is slowing there. Jake Fetter off pace with 30 seconds plus 2 laps to go. Still a 2-driver fight up front here in Shifter Masters. Skitchy Barnes trying to hang on. Scott Presti cooling the tires back off. We saw earlier on Presti was kind of skirting the rear on the exit of the corner. Little rear brake lock up there in turn number 1. I don't know if he still got the rubber left to challenge Skitchy, but you look at them there, you can see the rear end sliding coming out of turn number 4 where Barnes pulls away. He then attacks the corner in the bus stop and picks up some time, but Skitchy seems a little more planted in certain places than Scott Presti. A wider arc there in turn number 8, and that gap opens to 3 car lengths now as we head to 2 laps to go when they get back to the line. Scott Presti running low on laps, still his best session of the weekend here by far. He's not really been able to crack the top 5 much, has not yet at all cracked the top 3. He's running second, and he can see the win as Barnes goes low to block. This is the save he needed. Barnes was not necessarily in danger of losing the spot, but he wanted to cover it off anyway, and now Presti pulls back within a car length to the bus stop, Caleb.
Yeah, a car length into the bus stop, and Scott Presti going to have a really good run here on the exit of turn number 7. Can Scott Presti get himself close enough? Not enough as of yet, even though he has that little bit more of power. Not enough for Scott Presti to get ahead of Skitchy Barnes, who is really good throughout the technical section of the racetrack and able to keep Scott Presti at bay. But a good drive for Joe Ruck. He's 3rd in class, 4th overall, so not bad for the reigning champion in the KZ class. For Skitchy Barnes, though, still leading. White flag in the air, mid-track for Skitchy Barnes, and Scott Presti going to close down that gap once again, but a car length still separates the 2 of them.
Joe Ruck did pull away from Matt Machiko, but he's not close enough to Brian Chatfield, his Maranello teammate, to challenge for the podium. This is the final fight on the racetrack inside the top 5, top 7 spots, really. Scott Presti, Skitchy Barnes, last lap, turn 9, turn 10. Really only one more shot if Presti wants to take a stab at it. Barnes was low into 10 to cover. Through the S's, Scott Presti's a car length away. Does he send it? He's not close enough. Out of turn 14, from Bermuda to North Carolina, Skitchy Barnes wins the Queen City Gambit in Shifter Master. He is fired up as he slides the outside in turn number 2.
Wow, what a showing for Skitchy Barnes in that rock machine. Wins overall. Skitchy Barnes, your winner in the Queen City Gambit. What a race for him, and hopefully giving us some donuts. We had donuts this morning from the Stars Championship Series, and hopefully Skitchy Barnes gives us some here on screen.
Yeah, he's got a month to rebuild that motor. Oh, heartbreak. No, not heartbreak. He did cross the line. Mike Rivera just taking a little breather there on the outside of turn number 1. P6 for the rating Rock Shifter Master champ. There's Joe Ruck giving a knuckle tap there to Skitchy Barnes at the line. An awesome run for Joe Ruck to come from outside the top 10. He climbs his way up to 4th here at the Checkers, and a couple cars off there in turn number 3, but that does it for Shifter Master. Skitchy Barnes, your winner over Scott Presti, Brian Chatfield, and Joe Ruck. Matt Machiko 5th, Rivera, Ryan Frank 7th, Luis Quinones 8th, Morn Van Taken 9th, Bradley Danoff rounds out the top 10. We'll take this moment to step away, folks. When we return, oh wait, is Skitchy going to give us a little donuts? Hey, check this out. Burn them down from Bermuda. Skitchy Barnes is giving us a show here down in turn number 1. How about that here? His Stars Championship Series debut. He was stoked to get to join this series and find a good group of masters, and the Maranellos are fired up. They're going to party with them here as Joe Ruck and Brian Chatfield are giving some donuts here for the fans in the stands in Charlotte.
Hey, and laying down some rubber on that outside line, too, so that's not bad for the later classes of Joe Ruck and Brian Chatfield. So congratulations to those Maranellos overall. Skitchy Barnes takes the win, 1st in class. Scott Presti, 1st in class. And then Joe Ruck getting himself in the class podium. Not the overall podium, but a good finish for these Shifter Masters. There's Scott Presti, the class winner in the KZ Shifter.
No, they're scored overall.
Oh, okay.
So Rock can still win in the Shifter Master, but then Skitchy's going to get 2 trophies. He wins the overall, the Shifter Master division, and he gets to be the highest finishing Rock driver as well.
Would you look at that?
Skitchy Barnes, Scott Presti, Brian Chatfield, your overall podium, and then Skitchy Barnes, Mike Rivera, and Owsley Cheek III, your rock shifter master Podium. So now we'll take a moment to step away, and then we'll come back with more action here from Charlotte. 3 main events in, lots more to roll here from Concord, North Carolina. You're watching Car Chasers coverage of the Stars Championship Series Queen City Gambit when we return.
USA, a top-level performance team with unmatched hospitality, offering a full-service driver development program with year-round testing available in Miami, Florida, and the official North America racing team of Parolin Racing Chassis. Chassis and parts available at ParolinUSA.com.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
Are you looking for an advantage in your competition? Well, Kart Class has done the hard work for you. We've traveled to your racetracks to give you the inside knowledge. So what does Kart Class offer? We've got drone footage that captures the racing lines, visual markers for your braking points, acceleration zones, and the best overtake opportunities on your racetrack. Pedal cam to show you where to brake and when to accelerate, and 360-degree footage to make sure you don't miss any parts on the racetrack. We've covered 13 racetracks in the United States, and Australia, you're up next. So visit kartclass.com to get your track information.
The engines have fired here for K.A. Jr., so let's get set to see how they will line up. 40 drivers strong. Ty Fisher and Enzo Vidmontien are on your front row here as Michael McGoy and Carter McMurray make up row 2. Chase Cassie and Lee, Nathan Dupuis on row number 3, Caleb.
Isaac Malcolm and Cameron Marcia on row number 4. Jackson Dio and John Antonino and all MPG, row 5, with Max Wellen and Luca Brancotti on row 6.
Matteo Pappas and Gabriel Balog, row 7. Then it's Wargo, Kuhn, Bocarum, Tartar, Dunnigan, and Pettit. That's the first 20. Let's see the final 20 starters for a packed house, a full 40-car grid. And don't forget the likes of Marco Romero, Max Christia, and Tristan Murphy. Murphy, the winner from the B pre-final after crashes in his heats. Romero and Christia with mechanical DNFs in the pre-final, and the same for Benham Abernathy and Landon Boer. So here we go. The biggest group we have seen yet today. K.A. Jr. coming around the final turn and getting set to go green. Ty Fisher on the Race Lab Karting white and green TB kart. Enzo Vidmontien on the white, orange, and green Trinity Karting Group Kart Republic. Let's go racing. Boys and girls down to turn 1. Cameron Marcia was quick to dive to the middle, but a slow start has John Antonino Jr. getting the jump on him around the outside. He'll pick up a few as Marcia falls back, and Enzo with the jump away for the lead. McGoy to second. Fisher under fire early as Carter McMurray tried to go, and ultimately they all kind of tuck in. Chase Gasset Lee there in 5th, right in front of Nathan Dupuis and Isaac Malkin as Jackson Deal covers low from Cameron Marcia through turn number 8.
And I tell you what, up front, a surprisingly tame start. Everybody staying in line, everybody pushing each other forward. They know they can't let Enzo Vidmontier run away with it here.
Now into turn number 14. Dupuis dive bomb into the inside of Chase Gasset Lee. Isaac Malkin looking to follow. He'll tuck back in. And now Antonino going to go to the inside, and he'll get through on Malkin. Malkin with an over-under pulls that spot back as Jackson Deal follows here. So a little lead for Enzo Vidmontien. Like you said, that was a rockier start for everybody else, and it's a half-second lead for Enzo here. Let's see if he can break away. He was able to skate away from the field in the closing laps of the U.S. Pro Kart Series race in Houston. Can he do it again and sweep the month of April in KA Junior Mains? He's got a half-second lead to start it, but they are lined up now. McGoy, Fisher, McMurray, side by side. Gassiet Lee back on the inside of Nathan Dupuis' Super Tuned Tony Kart. He retakes fifth. Malkut then ahead of Antonino Jr., Deal, and Max Weiland. Mad Max back there in P10.
Yeah, a good start of this race for Max Weiland here, slotting himself in the top 10. Just outside is Derek Wargo, the Drive Your Line Comcart, up into 11th. A good start for him after finishing 15th yesterday in the pre-final. So a good drive so far for the kid from New Orleans.
Now as Max Weiland charges towards the rear of Jackson Deal, we keep an eye on the gap. It was dead even, dead knots basically, within a half-tenth for Enzo Vidmontien to Michael McGoy. McGoy does not have a pusher right now. Ty Fisher is not close enough to help him. This is the tightest pack we've got. This is 5th, 6th, 7th. Gassiet Lee, Dupuis, Malkut, little gap to Antonino Jr. There's a move from Max Weiland. He'll take over 9th from the MPG Academy Kart Republic of Jackson Deal. So they fall now to 8th and 10th for that group. Mateo Pappas with a big hungry pack behind him there in 12th. He's fending him off right now. Cameron Marshall, the next in line, who got a rougher start to this KA Junior Main. But it's a long one, folks. A lot of time to go. A lot of time to make up spots. And unfortunately, it's also a lot of time to get caught in a battle and end up way back, as already that main mid-group has lost a ton of time to your leaders. Derek Wargo is safe away in 11th. How about your update on the drivers starting deep in the field? Max Christia is up 12 spots and counting. Max Christia on a tear. He's 17th right now and digging for more in the middle of this mad scrum. There he goes, picking up another one. That's on one of the BJR MDR entries. That was the, I believe maybe it might have been defending from John Michael Dunnigan. Indeed, he was defending there, and there's contact in front of him. Luca Brancati, Gabriel Balog, Christia, nowhere to go, has to stay in that 17th spot, but still trying to work his way through this group as Mateo Pappas has faded backwards a little bit. There's your leaders, all spread out down the backstretch, single file. Cameron Marcia now into the 12th position, starting to pull away from Mason Kuhn. Then it is Mateo Pappas in 13th with this group right here. Right on his tail is Gabriel Balog, Luca Brancati, and Max Christia. Balog and Christia as Brancati goes through the dirt there in the RPM Tony Kart.
Yeah, Brancati having to take evasive action there into the grass. There's Maximo Karam in that group as well. Everything in the top 10 looks kind of tame, and then you look outside and it's an all-out war. There goes Max Christia. Wasn't close enough to go on the inside of turn number 1. There, he's going to have to stay in line. And Mateo Pappas holding everybody up there in that 12th spot.
Good run for Michael McGoy. He kicked off another couple hundredths off the lead for Enzo Vidmontien. That gap now down to 3/10, so he's catching up to our race leader. This is the edge of the top 10. Antonino, Weiland, and Deal, as in front of him, they're starting to fight. Carter McMurray losing a spot. Jace Gassiet Lee into the 4th position. Ty Fisher in no man's land right now in 3rd on that Race Lab TB cart. He's got probably about a second now back to this 4-car grouping. Gassiet Lee, McMurray, and company. Here's Max Weiland on the inside. Jackson Deal, that is for the 9th spot. He's through. So Deal back to the 10th spot. Derek Wargo still in 11th. About a half second back to Cameron Marcia with 10 minutes plus 2 laps. Here's your top 2 starting to break away.
Yeah, Michael McGoy has been setting in really good lap times here. Almost a 10th quicker than Vidmontien last time by, and it looks really good this time around for Michael McGoy. He's closing down the gap quickly to Enzo Vidmontien. Ty Fisher kind of in no man's land, getting that dirty air from the top 2 and not close enough to get a push from Chase Gassiet Lee from behind. But Gassiet Lee lapping really quickly and may get to the rear bumper of Ty Fisher here shortly if Fisher continues to lose time.
Yeah, they were even that time by. Both of them 2/10 off the leaders. Here as Gassiet Lee at 43.55. Isaac Malkut did a really good lap last time as he made the move on Carter McMurray, so keep an eye on that PSL karting Bureau art of Isaac Malkut to make up some more time. Let's see if he goes for 5th. He does. Turn 8 inside clear. Isaac Malkut, little sizzle, now into 4th as his charge forward continues. Gassiet Lee just able to tuck in front of Carter McMurray's Timmy Tech comp cart. Then Nathan Dupuis, and then a little gap back to John Antonino Jr., Max Weiland, and Jackson Deal. So out of turn 14, the leaders still working together right now. Michael McGoy versus Enzo Vidmontien. This is 3 years of junior racing to 6 months. Michael McGoy still ran the Super Nats and Mini. Enzo Vidmontien, it was his, I believe, second Super Nationals in the junior ranks, second full year. But, of course, that one didn't work out too well. It's been a really roller coaster 6 months up until April. But Enzo Vidmontien, a big win in Houston, and now looking for another win to close out the month with his second national win in just as many races. So McGoy, I'm not sure if he'll want to go by him right now. If he feels like he can go head-to-head against Enzo, he may stay in line till the end of this, as Gassiet Lee and Carter McMurray trading that 5th spot again. Isaac Malkett starting to close up to Ty Fisher. Here comes Nathan Dupuis on the inside of Carter McMurray. He'll get by. McMurray back to the 7th spot as they go through turns 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, good move there by Dupuis to get up another spot. And their fighting is really opening up the gap to Isaac Malkett and others ahead. They were closing down, but with all the fighting that they're doing, just isn't helping them out. At one point, we thought Chase Gassiet was going to be there and help Ty Fisher to get to the top 2, but just isn't close enough. Now it looks like it's going to be Isaac Malkett as Nathan Dupuis on the inside of the hairpin, and a little bit of contact in between Dupuis and Gassiet.
Let's check out this next group there. Weiland on back there. What a run for Cameron Marsha back forward. He just set fast time of the race, and an even better run in the works for his Trinity Karting Group teammate Christia. Here's Marsha trying the inside on Jackson Deal. Not deep enough there in turns 1 and 2. He'll tuck back in. Max Christia is up 18 spots and digging. He's about to crack the top 10. He heard in his interview after warm-ups, he said, if the leaders battle, I can get a top 5. If they don't, I think I can get a top 10. He's almost there here at the halfway mark. The leaders, unfortunately, not battling, so that last 5 spots will be a lot harder to get to. As we got a change for 3rd. New kid on the podium, Isaac Malkett into P3 over Ty Fisher.
Yeah, let's see what Ty Fisher and Isaac Malkett can do here. If they work together, they can get there in the end. Still 7 minutes to go in this race. For Nathan Dupuis and Gassiet, they lost a lot of time fighting, so they're a little bit too far back from Ty Fisher and Isaac Malkett to help each other out to get to Enzo Vidmontien and Michael McGoy here. But Ty Fisher already a car length in between himself and Isaac Malkett, so something amiss with that TV kart or just making mistakes out here on the racetrack.
Yeah, just not fast enough, I guess, here. Isaac Malkett last time by, he was a tick quicker than the leaders, even with making the pass on Ty Fisher. It's not over. He's 1.7 seconds away. The moment anything happens for the lead, which we know they'll start to battle at the end, Isaac Malkett could get back up there and fight for the race win. As Vidmontien and McGoy head through turns 1 and 2, and they must have changed spots a lap ago. But for Isaac Malkett, even to McGoy, half a tenth better than Vidmontien. It's not fun, and it's hard to stay motivated when you barely see any progress, but he is making some inroads towards the leaders, and now he's got clear racetrack to just pound some laps and try to take that PSL Bureau Art to the front. So here's your top 2, Vidmontien, McGoy. Then you go back, Malkett, Fisher, still running nose to tail. They pulled away by 1.2 seconds to that 3-car group behind them with Chase Gassiet Lee, Carter McMurray, and Nathan Dupuis all together. Now, there is, by our calculations, around 10 laps remaining. 13 laps on the boards. Malkett just knocked off another 10th. 1.5 seconds the gap up to the top 2. Isaac is flying.
Yeah, Malkett doing really good here. This battle for the back, Dupuis fell back behind Gassiet and McMurray, so they continue to battle, and you see it once again, that gap to Ty Fisher ahead, still very wide. Let's check in on Max Christia. He just went purple, a 43.053 for the Trinity Karting Group Kart Republic. He was able to get ahead of his teammate, of Cameron Marsha. So Christia currently in 8th. He said he needed the leaders to fight to get into the top 5, and they haven't done so as of yet, but is lapping 0.3 of a second quicker than the leaders. Max Christia may very well catch up to Nathan Dupuis and Carter McMurray. Cameron Marsha also lapping really quickly here in this one. He's ahead of Max Weiland. Was able to get that move done. So for the 2 Trinity Karting Group Kart Republic rookies in this class, they're going to have to pull lap times out of the bag here if they want to catch up to Nathan Dupuis, Chase Gassiet, and Carter McMurray. We've seen them fight So it's definitely possible for Max Christie to get into the top 5.
McGoy is doing everything possible to keep this a two-car fight here, taking all that experience from running up at the front of the mini field to just push with the leader and wait till the very end. But Malcutt and Fisher are still making inroads. Let's see if they picked up any more. Half a tenth last time, even that time by. A 1.7 to a 1.5. So within 200s, it stays at 1.5 seconds up to the rear bumper of Michael McGoy. For that group, though, with Max Christie and Cameron Marcia, well, they picked up 0.2 on Carter McMurray, Nathan Dupuis, and Chase Gassiet-Lee. So to get into the top 5, that final fight there, that's going to probably add 2 more cars in it here sooner rather than later. Max Weiland's even still kind of hanging on to the end of their group right now. So those 2 TKG KRs in 8th and 9th might get to the 3-car pack running 5th through 7th. 3.5 minutes to go, plus 2 laps across the line. Malcutt, Fisher, any update there? They picked back up a 10th, so it does get a little bit closer. 1.4 from McGoy's rear bumper, so they need more than that, though. They need something up front. They're just inching their way there and just quite aren't fast enough. And again, all 4 of these guys were running together in the pre-final. Malcutt obviously got a rougher start. Fisher got a decent one in 3rd, but he was by himself, and McGoy was just a little faster in the opening couple laps, pulled away from that Race Lab TV kart. As behind them, it looks like they've started to battle again for 5th, 6th, and 7th. Gassiet-Lee, Carter McMurray, Nathan Dupuis, and there's dust kicked up behind. Gassiet-Lee and McMurray have gotten around Dupuis and started to pull away a little bit from that Super Tuned Paralymp, or Super Tuned Tony kart of Nathan Dupuis. Here with 2.5 minutes to go. This is still a decent weekend here for Chase Gassiet-Lee. Another top 5 result potentially looming. Carter McMurray, not nearly as active of a national tour for him, staying more so in the Southeast for his karting calendar this year. A lot of racing at Trackhouse Motorplex up the road. The races here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. I believe he may have won, if not put it on the podium at the CKNA Spring Nationals in 206 Junior. He had a great run there. And again, this weekend here at this racetrack, it's always treated him pretty well in the handful of starts he's had at Charlotte. So Carter McMurray, P6, Nathan Dupuis, another good run with the new operation. Still pretty fresh running with Super Tune USA here for Nathan Dupuis, the Canadian, P7. Max Christie, Cameron Marcia picked up 3/10 off of Dupuis that time. Picked up almost 2/10 off of Chase Gassiet-Lee, so that was pretty good for them. The other updates, some of the drivers coming from the back. How about Tristan Murphy, your B pre-final winner? He is 15th right now on the Ryan Perry Motorsport Tony kart, ahead of Mason Kuhn. Big gains for him. Big gains for Ben Abernathy and Marco O'Mara after their misfortune in the A pre-final. Henry Taylor, watched him race his way into the show to finish 3rd in the B pre-final. He's now up 10 spots. Luca Brancati, obviously, we saw him with that off-track excursion. He's down 15. Indy Anderson, one of the last few to transfer in the B pre-final, up 10 positions to 28th here with a minute plus 2 laps to go. So pairs of 2, and it's kind of stabilized now. 1.5 seconds and sticking there for Vidmontien and McGoy. Back to Malcutt and Fisher. Isaac Malcutt on the Bureau Art, Fisher on the TB kart with a gap back to Chase Gassiet-Lee and Carter McMurray that are running in line as well. They pulled from Nathan Dupuis, who is now only about 4/10 up the road from Max Christie. So Christie up 21 positions, 30 seconds plus 2 laps to go. I think he might get to Dupuis here in a moment to challenge for that 7th position. Through turns 1 and 2, though, no change up front. Probably won't see anything here till the final 2 laps.
3 laps to go left in this one. So Renzo Vidmontien and Michael McGoy, as they get to the closing stages of this race, it's been pretty stagnant. They haven't made any moves. McGoy's been patient. Learned from Vidmontien here in this one. It's been the story, right? These 4 drivers are the race winners of all day yesterday. McGoy won the first heat in his heat race. It was Vidmontien winning his heat. Malcutt won a heat as well, and Enzo Vidmontien was able to sweep, and then Ty Fisher as well winning the pre-final. But this time for Malcutt and Ty Fisher just aren't close enough to the likes of Enzo Vidmontien and Michael McGoy. Vidmontien going defensive with 2 laps to go, covers off the inside. Michael McGoy trying to get around the Kart Republic of Enzo Vidmontien into the bus stop chicane. It may be the best chance that McGoy has to get ahead. Doesn't poke a nose and isn't going to be close enough. Let's see what it looks like. Has a good run out of turn number 7. through the back straightaway. Vidmontienne going defensive again, and this is really going to help Isaac Malquit and Ty Fisher to close down the gap and try and contend for the lead. McGoy looked back, saw that those two drivers are closing down. Enzo Vidmontienne still going defensive, and Isaac Malquit starting to come in a frame here.
Yeah, we didn't expect it this early from Enzo, but he's obviously trying to park in and hope for a fight for second. Here comes McGoy, almost a good over-under there. Now we're 4 deep at the line. White flag waving, 1 to go. Malquit not quite there for third. Tried that move on McGoy. Wasn't deep enough into turn number 1. Michael McGoy, what a run it would be. Could he get his first career junior national win on the same weekend? He stands on the box in just 6 months away from his last mini race and his last mini podium. Down the backstretch. Enzo to the low side. McGoy again with the over-under out at turn 8, but he's not close. Maybe? No, not there. Vidmontienne back to the low side. Here comes Malquit. He'll shove Vidmontienne through. He's going to try and force McGoy wide, but Michael hangs tough on the outside to the final turn. Last corner, McGoy to the inside, forces his way, Malquit low. Here comes Ty Fisher, side by side. Isaac Malquit steals it at the line.
Wow, Isaac Malquit stayed patient, bided his time, made up the spots, and wins the Queen City Gambit at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's Ty Fisher in the TB Kart in second, McGoy third, and Enzo Vidmontienne led every single lap and lost it in the last corner. Enzo Vidmontienne fourth. McMurray rounds up your top 5.
What a run for Isaac Malquit. He was way out of it until 2 to go, but he never gave up. He kept putting in the laps there and just needed the leaders to fight, and they did. You saw the frustration for Michael McGoy as he sent it. His only window there was the inside of that last turn, and Michael McGoy got the lead for all of about 5 feet, and he ends up third. Ty Fisher stays out of trouble, follows Malquit forward. He ends up in second. Enzo Vidmontienne obviously not happy with Michael McGoy, but Michael, you know, he's got to try it, right? Again, and that was hard racing for both of them, but Enzo not happy with the way that one went. He led the entire race, defended, did what he thought he could to try and hold off the field, but he left the door open just enough there in that last turn for Michael to try to get down the inside. And that was hard racing for the win there at the end of this main event here from Charlotte. And Isaac Malquit, what a win there for him, and what a great run. How about this for Max Christia, Cameron Marcia? Congratulations to both of them there. They had a long drive forward, and they both were able to get around Nathan Dupuis. And Max Christia's drive up a number more than 20 positions gained to 7th at the line there. Marcia 8th. Dupuis fades to 9th there at the last second. Gabriel Balog gets around his teammate Max Weiland at the end for a top 10. Carter McMurray ends up winning out in that battle with Chase Gassiet-Lee. He gets 5th at the checkers. Gassiet-Lee 6th. Vidmontienne 4th at the line. McGoy P3 in a podium. Fisher 2nd. And congratulations to Isaac Malquit, your KA Junior winner. Now it's time for the Swift Stars here onto the racetrack. 8 to 12 years old. The outlap underway. Let's take you through the starting lineup here for how these young guns and girls will get ready to go racing. So it is just about midway through these semi-pro mains. Following your Swift Stars, we will have, of course, the main events for your KA Stars and then your OKN Junior division before the lunch break, which will feature semi-pro podiums, and then it'll be time for the Mazda Motorsports Pro Show here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Parker Ives has dominated this class. Can anyone hold a candle to him? Marco Salmon will be the first one to try. He starts on the outside of row 1. Royce Vega, Enzo De Janeiro, row 2.
Owen Green, Valentino Santiano on that third row, Holden Myers, and Josh Bergman on row 4.
Then back row 5 to round the top 10, Luke Giglio, Nicholas Mose. The rest of the field ready to get after it. 30 drivers here in Swift Stars as they head towards the start-finish line. Park arrives on the inside in that red and white Ryan Perry Motorsport Nitro Kart. Marco Salmon on the outside. Keep an eye on Josh Bergman starting from the tail as we go green down to turn 1, and Vega gets to second for a minute. But here comes Bowen Green trying to get it. Has to tuck back in. All the way back to 5th for Marco. And a 2-car length gap to start this main event for Parker Ives.
And a good jump for Royce Vega. Started in 3rd. Was able to get ahead there of Marco Samet, who was stuck on the outside. Didn't get the best start or the start he would have wanted. Currently 5th here at the moment. Ahead of him is the 2 karts of Bowen Green and Holden Myers. And they're going to want to work together here in this one if they want to catch up to Parker Ives. They all have to work together for that matter and not let that RPM Nitro kart get away.
Yeah, out front for Parker Ives here in the 149. Royce Vega a little bit back there to Bowen Green and Holden Myers. And they've got a shot. Royce Vega, this is as close as he's been to Parker Ives here this weekend. Can he hold on to the coattails of the 149? Parker is just so good on low air and cold tires. He rockets away in the opening couple laps, and that gap never really comes back down as we get into the race. But luckily for Royce Vega, he's got help. They are lined up behind him to try and hang on to Parker Ives. Bowen Green right on the bumper down at the end of the back straightaway through turn number 8. The gap about 3 car lengths back from Parker to 2nd and 3rd as the whole field heads through turns 10 and 11. Pretty much single file through your top 10 starters right now with Vega, Green, Myers, Samet in the mix there. Luke Giglio with a good start there in P6 on the Kart Republic. Back to 7th, Enzo De Janeiro, Cade Wolf, Valentino Santillan all the way back to P9, and then it still is kind of close. Nicholas Mose there in the 10th position as Santillan got around Cade Wolf. Then Xander Matias, back in 21st. My mistake there as it shuffled, but 11th for Ben Gleberman and Nico Katowski here as we watch the rest of this pack. There is Mose going through. Down the backstretch now, Holden Myers looking for 3rd on his Timmy Tech teammate. He gets it cleanly and easily, all painless there for the swap in position number 3. Marco Samet, Luke Giglio right on the tail. They're almost running over each other through turns 10 and 11 as they all try to hunt down Parker Ives, who leads through turn 14.
Yeah, everybody working together here, but you already see that gap start to open up in between Parker Ives and Royce Vega there. That currently at 5 car lengths. There you see a move for the back. Valentino Santillan there on the inside of Enzo De Janeiro, able to get clear. So Valentino Santillan up to P7 with the fastest lap of the race. Knew he had to go, got the move done, and was able to get clear.
Yeah, coming out of the turn 8, 9, 6, 7 complex onto the backstretch. Still nothing here for the second group. Parker Ives just finds a little bit more than the rest of them. Vega was 2/10 off. Now they're all going to go by and they're going to fight. They tried pushing Royce forward. They thought he might have had a shot at catching Parker, but Holden Myers now leads the train. Then it's Bowen Green. Then Vega back into 4th where he finds a hole. One big line of go-karts all trying to chase Parker Ives here, who's got now a 2nd on this group. And we've still got 12 minutes plus 2 laps to go. But Parker has shown us that no matter how long's left in the race, you can't bank on him slowing down.
Yeah, an update on some of our quick drivers who got stuck further back in the field. Ashton Woon already up to 17th. For Josh Bergman, he's made up a lot of spots. He's currently 16th, so Josh Bergman and Ashton Woon right next to each other and working together to work their way into the top 10 here in this one. For Holden Myers and Bowen Green, they continue to fight and continue to lose a little bit of time there to Parker Ives as Valentino Santillan looks for a move there. He's able to get it done on Luke Giglio. So Giglio loses a spot there and going to fall under fire to Cade Wolf, who's right behind him now.
Yeah, now as they head across the line, another lap completed. Where's our gap? 1.19. Another 2/10. This is just incredible, Caleb. I mean, it's so rare in this class that one kid is just head and shoulders above the rest, but that has been it this weekend. Parker Ives had everybody covered.
Yeah, Parker Ives has been in a zip code of his own all weekend long. We saw him really gain that pace in heat number 2 where he pulled away from Ashton Woon and others. Ashton Woon was one of the drivers that we thought that could contend, but he's currently down in 16th. Parker Ives swept the second heat, won the pre-final by a big margin, had a good warm-up this morning, warmed himself up nicely, and already putting a gap and on the field and a clinic on the field. As there you saw Valentino Santillan get the move done on Marco Samet. So Santillan just on the edge of the top 5 and 5th there at the moment, making moves for that Saudi Racing USA driver.
Yeah, that is a big leap forward here on Sunday for Valentino Santillan, and 3 more cars still within striking distance there for him to maybe get up onto the podium. So Valentino down the backstretch, 2 car lengths away. Car length back to Samet. They are starting to spread out, although a little bobble up at the front of the pack Holden Myers there, Bowen Green. Bowen was just trying to push him and continue working together, and he kind of got in a bit too deep, and now Royce Vega is going to send Bowen to the weeds. Good kudos and sportsmanship from Bowen Green, though. He waved Holden back by, said, sorry about that, buddy. I know we're trying to work together. I just kind of overshot it a bit. So, unfortunately, Bowen pays the price. He goes back to 5th, but Holden Myers still gets to hang on to 2nd for this group, and that one little hiccup, well, that cost them a lot. 4/10 alone that lap. 1.8 seconds now for Parker Ives out in front. Let's check in with the rest of this group. This main group here goes back, like we said, to Nicholas Mose, Nico Katowski, kind of Ben Gleberman hanging on at the end of the train. There's Marco Samet taking a spot away from Bowen Green. Enzo De Janeiro tried to follow. Now Luke Giglio looking for a move on him. Not going to quite happen inside the top 10. He'll stay tucked in on that white and orange Kart Republic. But back from the main group, you've got Isaac Payne by himself as there's Valentino making a move. It's not going to stick, though. Vega holds on to 3rd. Valentino Santillan still charging towards the lead here. But back from your 11 front runners, 12 front runners, Josh Bergman on a tear. He has the fastest lap of the race. He has gone from dead last on this grid. That was 30th. He is up 15 spots to P15 for Josh Bergman on that TKG Kart Republic. So in that second group, Bergman right here. There he is, 3rd in line in the bright yellow helmet. And along with him there, just in front, is Ashton Woon. As they fight up in front, these two, unfortunately, there was so much midfield battling they had to get through that it cost them a ton. Valentino Santillan now up into 3rd, but for Ashton Woon and Josh Bergman from the last row of the grid to climb all the way up into the top 15. They're in the top half now, which is fantastic. So out of the first sector, down the short chute, then the backstretch, Parker Ives leads over Holden Myers and Valentino Santillan into a podium spot as we go side by side to hear from a very happy Little Sizzle. Isaac Malcutt is your KA Junior main event winner. Alex?
Thank you, Xander. Isaac, I mean, wow, what a run. What a last lap battle. I got to hear it from your perspective. What was it like inside the driver's seat on that last lap?
Yeah, it was crazy. I started seeing them battling, so I'm like, I got to get to them very quickly so that I can win the race. And then in turn 1, when they threw the white, I tried to go to the inside of Michael, but there was a rock right there, and then I hit it, and it just got shit all over my tires, so then I slid across the track for like the first 3 turns. And then after that, I just kept my head down, focused, and then stayed behind them. Last corner, I knew they were going to fight hard, so just waited for them to go wide. I got the crossover, got the run, won the race.
Thank you, Isaac.
Thanks.
What a run for Isaac Malcutt here, and that explains it a little bit. We saw him try to make that move on Michael McGoy, but it just adds on to what we've been saying all weekend, how dirty it is offline, how tough it is to make some moves at certain parts of the racetrack. Making moves, though, is seemingly pretty easy for Soda USA's Valentino Santillan, though. He's up to 2nd now here. Parker Ives a little too far up the road, 3 seconds and counting from this second group. But Valentino now leads this pack. Holden Myers in 3rd, Vega 4th, Samet 5th, Green 6th, then Giglio, then Enzo De Janeiro, Cade Wolf in the top 10 in 9th. This is one of the better runs Cade's had this weekend. That third of the 3 Timmy Tech comp carts in the top 10. Up to P9. He's kind of been marching up after a qualifying that had him starting pretty deep in the pack, and now his teammate Holden Myers under fire. Vega gets through for 3rd. The Super Nats winner is now back on the podium, and Marco Samet wants to take 4th. He'll do so. Bowen Green tried to follow. They're side by side. Bowen's going to let him back in, and so the bleeding will stop for Holden now as he goes back to the inside on Marco Samet and gets through down in turns 1 and 2 as Luke Giglio takes advantage of Bowen Green. Goes through the inside in turns 1 and 2 as well. He'll move up to 6th, and Holden Myers back up to 4th.
Yeah, not too bad there by Holden Myers. He gets himself up into the 4th spot. Marco Samet there in 5th, trying to work his way back around Holden Myers. Not close enough as of yet. Luke Giglio there right behind, and then others as Ben Gleberman finds himself just outside of the top 10 with Nico Katowski and Nicholas Mose in the CRG. So a lot of work to do for those drivers who are just on the edge, but all this battling going to help them out. Royce Vega and others a little bit further ahead. Royce Vega currently with Valentino Santillan and pushing each other forward. Here on your screen is 4th on back with Holden Myers leading this second barrage.
So, again, this group goes back to Ben Gleberman in 12th. Your update on Ashton Woon now. He's climbed all the way to the front of that middle pack. He and Josh Bergman got around Isaac Payne. They pulled away. They're continuing to march up the field. Last time by for Ashton Woon, a 45-2. Bergman the same. They're quicker than the back half of the main pack that is kind of split up. It's now just really these 5 in frame. Myers, Samet, and then you go back to Giglio, Green, and De Janeiro. Then kind of on their own are Cade Wolf and Nicholas Mose. Nico Katowski kind of by himself behind them as well in 11th. Ben Gleberman right there with them on the Ryan Perry Motorsport Nitro kart. But just at the top of the screen, here's 2 of the fastest on the racetrack. Ashton Woon, Josh Bergman charging up the field right now. And both of them with 4 minutes plus 2 laps to go at the rate they're going, they have a chance of catching this next couple of drivers and cracking the top 12, maybe the top 10, depending on how the fighting breaks out in the final few laps, because we know they've been passing each other quite a bit during the middle of the race. They really start to defend for the final few spots in the top 5. It could shake it up even more, as Royce Vega has reeled in Valentino Santi, and the 2 of them in 2nd and 3rd have got about a second cushion. So they're safely onto the podium if they stay in line while this group fights. Luke Giglio not able to get it done on Marco Samet. He was trying the inside in turns 1 and 2. Not quite there for the 168 of Luke Giglio.
Yeah, not close as of yet there for Marco Samet. Losing a little bit of time there to Holden Myers on your screen for the 4th place. And there goes Luke Giglio looking for the move. Got better of it and going to slot right back in a line. Marco Samet losing time here to Holden Myers. And Luke Giglio knows it, wants to go in the hairpin and clear for Giglio. Up to P5 now for Luke Giglio. And now going to have to push Holden Myers here in this one. Royce Vega and Valentino Santillan still pushing each other and trying to work together, but I think they're going to run out of time here if they want to catch up to Parker Ives. That gap continuing to open up, lapping 2 tenths quicker than Santillan and Vega here at the moment. And that gap at 3.5 seconds, Andrew.
Yeah, that gap finally is staying smaller. I mean, Valentino Santillan and Royce Vega pushing at a 45.1. Parker Ives still at a 44.9. Set the fast lap of the race a couple laps ago at a 44.7. Only driver in that 10th bracket. So he is still just a 10th to 2 tenths better by himself than everyone else on the racetrack. 2 minutes plus 2 laps to go. Nowhere near this main group here in the top 10. 2nd and 3rd still pulling away from the rest of them because they're side by side back behind. Bowen Green under pressure. Marco Samet trying to challenge him. He does. Gets through. Holden Myers through as well. So 5th and 6th changing hands. Bowen back to 7th. Enzo De Janeiro 8th. You can see behind Nicholas Mose is all by himself in 9th. Nico Katowski the same. Cade Wolf and Ben Gleberman. They've got Ashton Woon and Josh Bergman starting to close up. So let's go down and go side by side here for the KA Stars coming up. Adam Brickley has been quietly marching up the field here this weekend. The TKG Alonso card is standing by.
Thank you, Xander. You said it best. Adam, I mean, you progressively made your way up to the front. You're starting on the outside of row 3. You did the same thing in all of the heat races yesterday. So, you know, what's your mentality heading to this one, and how can you not let the guys get away like in the pre-final?
So my goal is probably just to survive the start, don't wreck, kind of just, I'm okay if I'm even in the top 10, but like, because I know we have the pace, so just put my head down, see if we can catch people up front, and see if we can win this thing.
Thank you, Adam.
No problem.
40 seconds to go coming out of the last turn here. This time it's basically 3 laps remaining, maybe 4, because Parker Ives got there a couple seconds earlier. So it's going to be borderline if we get 22 or 23 laps in this main. Luke Giglio has worked his way to the front of this pack now on the Kart Republic, and they actually were a little faster than Royce Vega and Valentino Santillan. So while it looked like the podium might be all locked up for those two up the road, a late race charge from Georgia's Luke Giglio is bringing him closer to Valentino Santillan and the Texan in Royce Vega, who run 2nd and 3rd if this group stays in line. And that's a big big ask out of all of them because they have passed each other more times than Caleb and I can count here during this main event. Across the line, 20 laps complete. Timer at 0. Now they're fighting for second a little bit. Valentino Santillan defending from Vega. Here, seeing the timer hit 0. It's 3 laps to go, and we've got a battle for second. That's going to bring this next group back up to them.
Yeah, so this battling between Santillan and Vega can really throw a lifeline here to Luke Giglio and company. If they're smart, they'll know they don't need to fight and let Valentino and Santillan and Royce Vega fight it out. Vega isn't really, looking for the move here on Santillan, but it is going to have to go if Santillan continues to defend. And you see that gap closing down. Luke Giglio, Holden Myers, and Bowen Green and Marco Salmon all closing down the gap. Royce Vega going to have to go if he wants to keep his podium spot.
There was a move from Bowen Green back there on Marco Salmon. That has caused some separation. Your leader, Parker Ives, is well up the road. Let's go side by side. Battle for second and third. Luke Giglio just got them both. Luke Giglio up to P2. He gets around both Valentino Santillan and Royce Vega. Luke Giglio trying to get a best career mini Swift main event finish. This will be massive for the 168. He looks back. Santillan's going to cover for third. That'll give Giglio a gap. Parker Ives all the way up the road there in turns 10 and 11. He is safe here to bring it home through the S's while they fight behind for third. Vega, Santillan, look at Samet there side by side with Holden Myers. Bowen Green up and over the curbing, trying to get by. They're all fanned out, but Parker Ives wins the Queen City Gambit. And at the line, Luke Giglio steals one, and he's fired up with a first career national podium in second. Valentino Santillan third, Holden Myers fourth. Royce Vega ends up fifth at the end of the Swift Stars main event. So Parker Ives, a picture perfect main here. Exactly what you ask from your young driver. Go out, put it on the pole, lead every lap, don't make a mistake. 5.5 seconds, the margin of victory for Parker Ives. What a performance for this young man here. And Ryan Perry Motorsport, they are fired up because they've got another race winner. And Parker Ives, and I believe that is the first Mini Swift main event win in his career. So in only the month of April, Parker Ives, first career national win in the Mini Swift class. Look at Luke Giglio, how fired up he is. What a run. There's his dad, Mike, coming in. Congratulations, a first career Mini Swift podium for Luke Giglio. And Valentino Santillan on the box as well. I think a first podium as well for him. P3, all three of these kids pumped up here. A lot of first and a big congrats all around. Check it out, man. This is what you love to see at the end of the day. Luke there steals it from fourth to second on the final lap. What an awesome drive there for Luke Giglio. And Parker Ives, he's not as excited, but it's a little more boring for him there. I think it already started to sink in when he put 3 seconds on him. He ends up 5 seconds up on him, Caleb.
Yeah, a good drive for Parker Ives to become the winner of the Queen City Gambit at the opening round of the Stars Championship Series. Luke Giglio second, Santillan third, Myers fourth, Vega fifth. Samet, a good drive for him, finishing sixth inside the top 10 when you think championship. Bowen Green seventh, De Janeiro eighth, Nicholas Mose ninth, Nico Katowski 10th, and Josh Bergman and Ashton Woon. What a drive, 11th and 12th for Josh Bergman and Ashton Woon here in this one. It's Cade Wolf 13th, Ben Gleberman 14th, Isaac Payne 15th, but a good drive for your hard chargers of Josh Bergman and Ashton Woon here, Xander.
Yeah, great run for them to charge all the way up to the edge of the top 10. Just not enough fighting at the front early on for them to get any higher, but to go from dead last up to 11th and 12th, past 2/3 of the field, something they can definitely be proud of for Josh Bergman and Ashton Woon. And as the scale line begins to roll for the Swift Stars, we'll see if we can chat with them. There shouldn't be any karts to remove from the racetrack, so we're still waiting for that 1 minute call here from Justin Newcomb. There it goes. 1 minute, the engines will fire here for the KA Stars division. James Overbeck, the reigning series champion. We talked about him in warm-up. You said he is not sporting the one plate, didn't get a podium, didn't get a win last year. He wants to get a win and really earn that title in his eyes. It was great to be consistent, and he absolutely deserved it. He did earn it, whether he wants to believe it or not, but this year he wants to really put a stamp on the KA class. Well, he's got the best starting position in the house to do it. He starts alongside the Wisconsin Wonder Kid himself, Brandon Lemke, and that Franklin Motorsports Merlin will start on the outside of row number 1. Jackson Wolney, the rookie sensation, starts on the inside of row 2 for Speed Concepts Racing, his KA Stars debut alongside Alan Isambard, our most recent KA senior winner.
Hudson Brown and Adam Brickley on row number 3. Then on row 4, Eli Warren and Marco Mastronzi.
The former Supernats winner rolls off 8th, just ahead of multi-time X30 Pro race winner Hayden Jones and our Night Fight KA Stars winner from 2023. Mason Walters qualified on top on Friday but fell back through the heats in the pre-final. The rookie will start P10 on the BJR MDR entry with row 6 Mason Sertiner and Mick Gabriel.
Stephen Miller working his way just outside there on the 7th row with Noah Jackson, Christian Menezes, and Chris Wareheim on row 8. Maxwell, Hernandez, Daly, and Dukov there rounding up your top 20.
Then you go back to the final 20 drivers here on the grid. Sam Avrutsky, Austin Olds, and on down all the way to the final 2 that transferred. Logan Mueller and Oliver Piatek, 9th and 10th in the final results from pre-final B. The last 2 tickets to the big dance. 40 drivers, KA Stars. James Overbeck trying for that first national main event win. He's got a pre-final win now. Can the BJR MDR LN Kart driver get it done, or can Brandon Lemke go back to victory lane once again? Green flag in the air. We're racing for KA Stars down to turn number 1, and they're all going to make it through cleanly in the first 20, 30. Looks like most of the field is through, but they're 3 and 4 wide further back as it's Overbeck to Wolney, Isambard, Lemke's off, and there's a lot more drivers way off in the grass there further back. That was Finn Bailiff and Nikolai Dukov having to take the escape route.
Yeah, a lot of drivers on the escape route, and you see what happens on the outside line. Brandon Lemke down in 4th here. Jackson Wolney started on the outside as well, but he's up to 2nd here at the moment, and Isambard with a good start as well. There's Adam Brickley, Eli Warren, and Mastronzi there all working together, and Mason Walters in that group as well.
Side by side for 2nd, Alan Isambard already taking it to the young gun. He gets around Jackson Wolney as James Overbeck leads lap 1. Isambard, Wolney, Lemke under fire from Hudson Brown in his KA Stars debut. P4 now for the Gold Kart driver. What a great run here going for Hudson Brown as he tracks onto the rear bumper of Jackson Wolney. Adam Brickley said he needed a clean start to be in the top 10. He's got the pace. He's there. The TKG Alonzo Kart P6 right now, just ahead of Marco Mastronzi's group as Brown taking 3rd away in turn number 8. Another spot up for Hudson.
Yeah, Hudson Brown wasting no time. There goes Lemke looking for a move in the hairpin. Slots right back in a line for the Wisconsin native. The 903 slots right back behind Jackson Wolney. Adam Brickley has joined these 3 drivers. There goes Brandon Lemke to make the move there in turn number 13. Gets clear of Jackson Wolney and ahead. Now Wolney going to go back, and they're going to lose a lot of time there to Hudson Brown. A little bit of contact in between Wolney there and Lemke. So they're going to lose some time, and they need to be careful with how much they fight because we've seen the gaps open up here. You see the gap already to Hudson Brown. But Alan Isambard, after issues in that warm-up earlier today, didn't seem to shake him up at all because he's currently 2nd and lapping a little bit quicker than James Overbeck at the moment.
He's right there on the Sodi cart. Alan Isambard, does he want to lead early? Let's see it. Yes, he does. Alan Isambard goes through in turn 10. James Overbeck back to 2nd. Hudson Brown still looking on there in the gold card in 3rd. Lemke 4th. Adam Brickley trying to get 5th away from Jackson Wolney. He does. Brickley into the top 5. Wolney back to 6th. Look who's also cracked towards the leaders. Hayden Jones is there as Brickley covers low in turn 1. Hayden Jones and Mason Walters charging towards the leading quintet.
Yeah, Hayden Jones now closing down that gap. You see how much fighting affects the gaps here. Hayden Jones, because Wolney and Brickley are fighting, has been able to close down that gap and get there with Mason Walters. So let's see what Hayden Jones can do there while he's just outside of the top 5. Last time by, Hudson Brown went purple, 43.465, but we're only 2 minutes into this race, so Hudson Brown needs to be careful. Can't overheat those tires too much. Could be a higher tire pressure for him compared to Isambard and Overbeck, who seems to be pretty slow at the start, so could be a lower tire pressure for Overbeck here to start.
Yeah, James Overbeck, a car length away from Alan Isambard. It's a long main event here for these KA Stars. Lots of time here to make up ground, and when you start at the front of the field, you can afford to go a little lower on air pressure than some of the other drivers around you because you know you're probably going to cycle out to the top couple spots in the opening lap or 2. So Overbeck, a little bit slower early. Alan Isambard trying to get away. Hudson Brown still there. Lemke, after fading and fighting a bit, he is safely in 4th. Brickley 5th. Pass coming for P5, I think, or P6. Adam Brickley, Jackson Wolney, and then Hayden Jones and Mason Walters. I thought Jones might have been close enough to go on Wolney there for P6. He's not going to go quite yet. I think Jackson's starting to pick that pace up as well in the SCR Red Speed. Maybe also a little bit lower on air pressure. Across the line, another lap in the books here for KA Stars.
Yeah, 11 minutes to go left in this one. Still very early stages of the race. Overbeck staying within range with Alan Isambard. Hudson Brown still super quick, but like we said, Overbeck matching the lap times that Hudson Brown is putting down. Last time by Mason Walters, the other BJR MDR LN card in the top 10 was purple, a 43.154. He's behind Hayden Jones, and there you see him on the edge of the frame. Hayden Jones not making the move on Jackson Wolney as of yet, but is going to want to go here soon enough. But, also probably going to wait, not want to lose too much time, and I get proven wrong there in turn number 13. Hayden Jones goes on Jackson Wolney.
Hayden Jones there finally making the move. He was taking his time, didn't want to lose too much time on that pass. That was a veteran decision for Hayden Jones not to instantly dive bomb Jackson Wolney and cost themselves about a second to 2 seconds. He was trying to make sure that he wouldn't lose touch with Adam Brickley, and if Wolney was going to be quick enough to drive forward, he might have followed him, but he obviously felt like he was a little better than Jackson right now, so he's gone through for that 6th position. Marco Maestranzi is a little ways back from the rear of Mason Walters, but there's a big gap back to Eli Warren, who had a terrible start from 6th. He has rebounded to the 10th position behind Marco with a hefty gap to the midfield right now. That is probably going pretty bonkers here while the leaders continue to show the way.
Yeah, they got stuck in that scrap just outside of the top 10 with Nick Gabriel, Wareheim, and others who are just very glued together here in this one so far. Adam Brickley crosses the line, sets the fastest lap of the race, a 43.072 for the Fernando Alonso Kart there. He's currently behind Brandon Lemke and closing down his gap. Lemke behind Hudson Brown hasn't been able to make an impression on Hudson Brown as of yet. Being really patient, a car length in between the top 5 drivers here at the moment. And Isambard pulling a car length and a half here at the moment. Elverbeck still lapping a little bit quicker, but just can't make a dent on that gap as of yet.
Yeah, and Hudson Brown is starting to lose track of the top 2, and now he'll pay for it. Brandon Lemke gets by for P3. Here comes Adam Brickley to the rear bumper. Down the front stretch, does he go? He does as well, to the inside and clear for Adam. P4 for the 971 of Adam Brickley. Hayden Jones a little bit further back looking on there in P6 with Mason Walters still looking on Jackson Wolney. I believe we have one of the drivers with a side pod dragging there. That looks to maybe be Hudson Brown's left side pod is starting to scrape the ground. That'll hurt him in the one right-hand corner that we do have. If it is indeed Hudson Brown, looks to be okay, maybe just a bit low there. So we'll keep an eye on which one that may be. But through turn number 14, out of the last turn, onto the front straightaway, Alan Isambard, another lap led, keeping that margin back to James Overbeck, just logging laps right now in that Sodi Kart.
Yeah, keeping the gap pretty consistent here. Last time he was half a tenth quicker than James Overbeck. Brandon Lemke still in that 3rd spot, lapping 2 tenths quicker. So for Lemke, it could have been the same issue that Overbeck had early on, right? Low on tire pressure, lost a couple of spots, but now that kart starting to come to life here in the closing stages of the race.
Yeah, but they need a mistake out of Ellen Isambard, but we wait to see if they tighten up. Let's go side by side and hear from a first-time Mini Swift winner, the kid that dominated Micro last year, and now just 4 months into his Mini Swift career, he dominates a main event. It is Parker Ives standing by with Alex.
Thank you, Xander. Parker, you were super quick all weekend long. Over 5 seconds was the gap there at the end of that feature race. I mean, how would you say that race went for you?
It was pretty good. We had a fast kart all weekend, and we just got it dialed. We kept our head forward, and we went for it.
Thank you, Parker.
Thank you.
There you have it from Parker Ives here as Adam Brickley closes up to Brandon Lemke. They have massively pulled away from Hudson Brown. Mason Walters has gone by Hayden Jones, and now pass for 3rd. Adam Brickley has gone around Brandon Lemke. Adam Brickley, fastest kart on the racetrack right now in his only national start to date of 2024. He might have to come back and run a bit more here with this kind of speed. Adam Brickley, a 43.0. The best lap Isambard's put together is a 43.2. That 971 TKG Alonso kart, white front bumper, might not look proper, might be an all-black suit. He's still the fastest, baddest dude on the racetrack.
Adam Brickley flying here, and Overbeck lost a little bit of time last time to Alan Isambard. So Adam Brickley going to be there, lapping 0.2 of a second quicker than Overbeck here at the moment. So let's see what Brickley can do here with just 6 minutes to go. It seems like a long time. That was pretty much the length that we had in all the heat races. So let's see what it looks like for Adam Brickley here with just over 5 minutes to go left in this race. Overbeck not making too much of an impression on Isambard as of yet. He could be holding back a little bit, saving some tire. It could be a lot of things for James Overbeck as he loses touch there a little bit with Isambard again on the exit of turn number 1. But let's see what it looks like for Brickley. Is he going to go on James Overbeck this time by, or is he going to wait and try and push Overbeck up to Alan Isambard?
Still 6 minutes plus 2 laps to go. Couple of big movers further back. How about CJ Bowman up 13 spots? Nicholas DeFillo had to race his way in through the P pre-final, is up 18 spots here in this main. They are both running in the mid-teens, a little ways back from this main group right now. Isambard, Overbeck, Brickley, Lemke, Brown, the top 5, although he's going to have some heat coming soon for Mason Walters, who has caught up to him and has been a little bit quicker the last couple of laps. About a tenth better last time by. Hayden Jones and Jackson Wolney, they're running back there. Marco Maestranzi, Eli Warren, 9th and 10th. And then a hefty gap back from Eli Warren to Mason Surgener and CJ Bowman there, 11th and 12th.
Yeah, so those drivers just outside of the top 10 for Surgener and CJ Bowman. They continue to fight. Everything outside of the top 10 still super close and fighting, but for Adam Brickley, continuing to close down that gap to James Overbeck there for the lead. Brandon Lemke losing a little bit of touch with Adam Brickley here at the moment. So for Lemke, something amiss in this stage of the race. Really going to need either Isambard to make a mistake, James Overbeck to go for a move on the inside at 13. Gets it done over-under by Alan Isambard, and this is exactly what Brandon Lemke needs. Adam Brickley pushing James Overbeck back to the lead of the race. Brickley up to second, Isambard to third, and welcome back, Brandon Lemke.
And still, Mason Walters is not out of the fight. He just got around Hudson Brown at the same time. The rookie is now up 4 spots. He made some mistakes earlier in the weekend, some unforced errors trying to get his elbows out in his KA Stars debut. This rookie here closing into the leading quartet. The reigning series champ, the most recent race winner, a veteran here in a one-off ride for Adam Brickley, and of course Brandon Lemke, one of the most decorated single-speed drivers in the last decade. Down to the last turn, Lemke's going to go for third, and they're all going to shuffle the early race leader, Alan Isambard, to the back of the train. P4 now for the 952 with 4 minutes plus 2 laps to go.
And now let's see what Adam Brickley does here. Does he go on James Overbeck and try and push him away from Brandon Lemke and Alan Isambard, or does he try and make the move and control the race? We've seen it before today, Xander, right? The driver in the lead can defend. It's easy to defend around here. You want to be in control when it comes to the last lap. So let's see what Brickley decides to do against James Overbeck.
Yeah, he's got to get creative now because we're getting to the last few laps. So what do you want to do, Adam? He wants to lead. Adam Brickley to the point there in turns 10 and 11. James Overbeck back to second. Brickley going to cover the low side in the last turn. And Overbeck to the high side, keeps momentum up. Here comes Lemke again, not close enough to pressure him, but Adam's going to start low lining right now. Can James get the over-under? Not in turn 1. That's going to back the whole field up. This is some, driving that will try and basically force a fight for second. Right now, Brandon Lemke has not taken the bait, but if he does, and him and Overbeck get into it, it could be home free for Adam Brickley. He's gone back to his normal line now in turn 8, but the damage is done. Mason Walters, Hudson Brown have new life back in 5th and 6th, and now Overbeck's trying the lead in turns 10 and 11. Brickley on the outside, cuts through the dirt and through the curbing. Over the grass, Adam Brickley holds the lead, but now he's got dirt on the tires. Here's Lemke to second, Isambard third, Walters side by side with his teammate across the front stretch. 2.5 minutes plus 2 laps to go down to turn number 1.
Adam Brickley stacking and packing all the top 10. There's Hayden Jones in the background looking for moves as well. What can Isambard do from third here? Not close enough on Brandon Lemke. Gonna have to work with Lemke if they want to get to the point and have a chance to win this race. Brickley, these drivers need to be smart. Isambard going to go for a move, not going to help out their gap. Lemke going to let him go and slot in the line. But you see that gap open up a little bit here. They need to be smart. They need to work together and not let Adam Brickley get away.
Now James Overbeck goes by Lemke there for third. Oh, problems for Mason Walters. He's got something wrong there with that 933. Lost a ton of time. He's out of the group as Lemke sends it back on Overbeck in turn 14. James Overbeck back to 4th now. Lemke across the line, front stretch, trying to cover low. Overbeck back on him. He gets back for third. Brandon Lemke back to P4. Trying the inside back in turn number 3. This is all allowing the top two to get away, exactly what Adam Brickley wanted. He wanted to get these guys frustrated with each other, and now James Overbeck, Brandon Lemke have lost over a second to Alan Isambard and company. Here comes Hayden Jones trying to take advantage. He'll get into 5th ahead of Hudson Brown.
And this is the battle for P3 here, right? With Brandon Lemke and James Overbeck. The battle for the lead is still Isambard and Adam Brickley. Don't forget, he did go through the grass, and it may be a post-race penalty. It could be a lot of things, depending how the stewards see it. But at the moment, has a car length in between Alan Isambard here. So let's see what it looks like. There goes Jackson Wolney on the inside of Hudson Brown there in turn 1, gets clear.
Marco Maestranzi now joining the group. The former X30 Pro Super Nationals winner is now in the mix of things. As behind him there is Jackson Wolney and Eli Warren or Mason Walters and Eli Warren looking on. Here's Maestranzi on the tail of Hudson Brown. Not close enough to make that move in turn 8. Lemke and Overbeck, they put aside their differences. They're now 4/10 better than Adam Brickley, the race leader, as of last time by. So they can get back there. They're 1.4 seconds away. 30 seconds plus 2 laps to go as we'll take a look at the gaps. Here's Maestranzi to the inside of Hudson Brown.
Yeah, Hudson Brown had new life there, but just completely falling off here as he keeps getting past. Adam Brickley and Isambard still very close together, side by side. Not close enough for Isambard, still behind Adam Brickley. For Brandon Lemke and James Overbeck, last time by, they ran a 43.3. For Alan Isambard, they ran a 43.2. So all depending what it looks like. But Lemke and James Overbeck need a Hail Mary as the time runs out.
Yeah, you can see the margin there, 1.4 seconds. Alan Isambard going to give it to him as he goes side by side with Brickley. Brickley again hangs on the outside, hanging tough there in turns 10 and 11. Bought himself a car length there with that move. And now, coming to the line, 2 to go. Brickley's going to park it. That'll bring them right back in the mix. Here we go. All the way low for Adam. Way to the high side for Alan Isambard. Over-under's not there. He'll have to stay behind. Over to turn 2, turn 3. Now turn 4. Can he over-under him to the short chute? Now watch this, the bus stop. We've seen some passes here. Does Isambard try it? Yes, he does, and he gets through. Alan Isambard to the lead.
Alan Isambard got the move done. A new life for Brandon Lemke and James Overbeck. Brickley looks behind, sees her right there. Brickley needs something to catch Alan Isambard. Gonna have to get creative. Isambard now in control with 2 laps to go.
Brickley sliding now as he was so offline with all of that defending. Got dirt on the tires. Needs a picture-perfect final lap here. Needs Isambard to throw a block. But Alan is a smart driver. He just looked back and knows he can run the normal line. So he'll go to the outside in turn 1 and try to hit his marks. 1 lap to go. 1 lap away for Alan Isambard to sweep the month of April in KA Senior. He'd never raced a KA Senior national event before. He'd used it at the club races. He'd used it a lot, the package a lot to do driver training. But he had never won a single-speed main, never even raced a single-speed national since his junior days until 2 weeks ago. And now to turn 10, 1 car length up on Brickley. Lemke and Overbeck are not going to get there in time. Does Adam Brickley have the chance to do one last send in the last turn? Not close enough in turn 14. Alan Isambard sweeps the month of April and wins the Queen City Gambit.
And then P2, Adam Brickley finishing second there. Brandon Lemke a P3. A consolation prize there for Brandon Lemke as he's been quick all weekend long. James Overbeck P4 for the reigning champion. Hayden Jones in the top 5. And Jackson Wolney, a good debut weekend for the rookie. Marco Maestranzi P7. Hudson Brown all the way down to 8th. Mason Walters 9. And Eli Warren sneaking himself back into the top 10.
What a finish. Alan Isambard, an awesome drive there. Perfectly placed. Helped a little bit as Lemke and Overbeck got into it for 3rd. James Overbeck, what a disappointing end to the day here. So much speed, and he doesn't even get a piece of hardware to walk away with. He ends up 4th. Lemke 3rd. But Sodi Racing USA gets another win on the day to join Zane Burgess. Alan Isambard catches Adam Brickley by surprise with that pass for the win. You can see the bit of exhaustion there for Adam Brickley. He did everything he thought he could to win this one. But Alan, with a smile on his face as he nods to the mechanics behind the fence line, he's a winner here in KA Stars. The rest of the field there, Hayden Jones, a top 5 result there, respectable for the 916. Holds off the rookie Jackson Wolney. Marco Maestranzi gets around Hudson Brown late. He ends up 7th. Brown 8th. Mason Walters 9th. Eli Warren close enough to be there, not close enough to get in the fight. Just kind of ran 9th to 10th almost the entire main event. He ends up still with the top 10 and 5 seconds up the road from the next group with CJ Bowman, Mason Surgener there on the MPG, Kart Republics in 11th and 12th. Stephen Miller, 13th here, just kind of couldn't really make too much headway. Ends up right around where he started in the 973. Alex Feldstein, Nikolay Dukov, and on back, Ryan Miller there, 16th. Finnegan Bailiff had that crazy start, had to race his way through the B pre-final, ends up 17th at the end of it. He and Nicholas DeFillo working their way all the way up the grid to 17th and 18th. There's a congrats from Mason Walters to Adam Brickley, 2 drivers who have been racing each other quite a bit down the road at Trackhouse Motorplex Club races. And man, that one was good all the way to the end. Yeah. What a perfectly placed final lap move there for Alan Isambard. Both to not only to make that pass on Adam Brickley, but to be smart enough and trust himself enough to know when he needed to defend and when he could just kind of open up for the corner and keep that gap away. That right there was the difference, really, because if he would have blocked at all on that last lap and really low-lined it, he would have got dirt on the tires, and that slower corner could have allowed Brickley to get to him, and then all could have broken loose for the top 6.
Yeah, for sure. I remember a couple weeks back in Houston, Alan came up to me and he's like, man, nobody believed in me, man, and I proved everybody wrong, and I think he's done it here once again at the Star Championship Series, proving everybody wrong and taking the Queen City Gambit. Hayden Jones, consolation prize, finishing inside the top 5, but not too bad for all these drivers. For some rookies, Mason Walters as well had a good showing, but just that lack of experience kept him out of the top 5 here in this one. And Hudson Brown, a good showing for him as well, right? And one of his first national starts. Could be, I think, his first national start on the two-stroke side of things at a track where he has so many laps around. A good showing for him as well. But a lot of stories at the end of this one here, Xander, and it was crazy. And now I feel like I can finally take a deep breath and recollect myself because we have another main event coming your way with the OKNJs on deck.
Yeah, it's the last of our semi-pro main events, folks. Your OKN Juniors getting ready to roll here for their main event. This is the last main event of the morning sessions before we go into a short break on the day. There'll be semi-pro podiums during the break and the on-track action. And then we'll be getting ready for the pro show presented by Mazda Motorsports. So we run through this OKN Junior main event. That'll put us right around 12:20 p.m. Eastern. 12:30 p.m. Eastern is when we are setting for podium. So for those in the paddock, all of our top 3 finishers, it will be unofficial podiums. We'll be at least taking pictures and showing you your top finishers from all of these main events, including this one at 12:30. And then at 1 p.m. Eastern, the pro show presented by Mazda gets underway. So here's your grid for the OKN Junior main event, the last main here of the morning groupings. Gage Korn and Michael McGoy make up the front row with Max Weiland and John Antonino Jr. on row 2.
That's Nathan Dupuis and Forrest Adams on that 3rd row. Tyrone Kemper Jr. and Luke Tall on row number 4. Paulie Hart and Naomi Garcia, row number 5.
Then you go back to row 6. Davin Roberts, Chase Gassiet Lee, 2 drivers who led laps and broke while leading in the pre-final. Maximo Karam and Isaac Malcutt, the final 2 on the grid for OKN Junior. 14 drivers, the last few hustling to get there. There's Malcutt, top of the screen. Here we go, boys and girls. We're green. Down to turn 1. Gage Korn leads them as McGoy tries to hang on the outside tough. He does. Max Weiland slots into 4th as Antonino Jr. gets a little jump on him there through turn number 2. So John Antonino with a good start. Side by side further back, Paulie Hart, Tyrone Kemper Jr. Check out all these fast guys trapped in the middle of the group. Naomi Garcia, Davin Roberts down the backstretch. Already a split. The top 6 get away, and the rest of the group fighting to get through traffic.
Yeah, the entire field went side by side through the first chicane here. Everybody starting to single file as Davin. That's Luke Tall goes wide. Luke Tall really wide there and with an issue on the exit. Isaac Malcutt right behind Davin Roberts trying to continue to make moves. There's Tyrone Kemper Jr. There on your screen with Paulie Hart right behind him there. And Davin Roberts already looking for a move on Naomi Garcia. Going to go through. Isaac Malcutt tries to go through as well. Hops the curb. Not close enough as of yet. Already good racing and a much better main event for Davin Roberts after issues in the morning warm-up and after issues in the pre-final yesterday. A class that's been plagued with mechanical issues, and there's Chase Gassiet Lee. Issues for him, makes a mistake, and I think, again, the spark plug boot, I think, coming off that Kart, able to get back going, but issues for Chase Gassiet Lee here, Xander.
Yeah, Yeah, there is something wrong on that Ash Motorsports Coastal Link Custom Printing EOS kart. So he is now off on the wayside. As up front, change in the lead. Michael McGoy, Gage Korn, John Antonino Jr. really close here. 1, 2, 3 through turns 1 and 2. Then Max Weiland, then Nathan Dupuis, then Forrest Adams as they head onto the short chute towards the bus stop chicane. Michael McGoy a car length up on Gage Korn, another car length and a half to John Antonino, and not far back for Nathan Dupuis and Forrest Adams, but Davin Roberts still fighting his way through the mid-pack right now, 3 seconds away as we get early into the going of this OKN Junior main.
Yeah, not too bad at the moment for Davin Roberts, but Max Weiland, what a start to this race for him. Kept his nose clean in the top 4 here at the moment and looking to contend for a top 3 finish. There's John Antonino, going to try and go on his teammate, not close enough as of yet, and going to try and push him forward, because if they fight, Michael McGoy will continue to get away. The last time by, McGoy was 3/10 quicker than Gage Korn, so Korn with either an issue or just isn't on the same pace as Michael McGoy here at the moment.
Yeah, it is a little emphatic there from Gage Korn as he was motioning forward to try and get John Antonino Jr. to push him, but Michael McGoy rocketing away there coming out of turn number 8. I mean, it looked like he gapped him a car length or 2. This is a big improvement for him and a big improvement for the kid back in 6th that we were just showing. Forrest Adams on that BJR MDR entry. What a run here. This weekend he has been trying to get closer and closer. It's his first national start at 2024. And P6 right now, very respectable at the end of that lead pack with Nathan Dupuis just up the road. So good start for Forrest Adams in the 108. Dupuis as well has struggled in the OKN junior class after running in the top 10 safely all week of the 60 KA juniors. And that Super Tune USA Tony kart is starting to look a little bit sportier as the laps wear on here in this main. In fact, he's, like you said, challenging Max Weiland and putting some pressure on for that 4th position.
Yeah, so all these drivers have some experience in the under 25cc class, obviously running X30 Junior, but just a different package that's kind of got them thinking and have them learning. And there goes Nathan Dupuis, learned a lot, got the move done in turn number 1, and got clear of Max Weiland that time by.
Yeah, good move there, pulled away now through the first sector, so Nathan can start to focus forward towards John Antonino Jr. and Gage Korn, who are still doing everything in their power to hang on to the coattails of Michael McGoy, but he is already checking out on your OKN junior field. Let's go down to pit lane here. We'll hear from the aftermath of that KA Stars main event. What a run for Alan Isambard. He is your winner here. Alex?
Thank you, Xander. Allen sweeping the month of May here and really undefeated in the KA category. What was that race like from you? And then describe those last couple of laps with you and Adam.
Yeah, the entirety of the race was hard. I just had to be perfect in the beginning, try to keep the little gap that I had on James. And the end, I lost 3 spots and went back to 4th, and just kept my head on and came back.
I heard from a few drivers behind you, tire wear was actually an issue throughout that race. Was it the same for you?
Yeah, the tires were gone completely.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you.
Back to you, boys.
There you have it from Alan Isambard. You can see Adam Brickley standing by there in the wayside as he ends up with a P2. Results here still pretty good for not doing this nearly as much as the rest of them. And Michael McGoy, he's doing a great job on track here in OKN Junior. Gage Korn still 2nd, Antonino Jr. 3rd. We've got time, but if no one can find the pace right now of Michael McGoy, they're all in trouble. Isaac Malkut has it, but he's 5 seconds back. 41.431 for Isaac Malkut that time. A 41.6 for Davin Roberts. The 2 guys that might have been able to challenge Michael McGoy had to work their way through a lot of traffic in the first few laps. They're 7th and 8th, and they're nearly 2 seconds back from Forrest Adams there in the 6th position. So there's a look at them. The 3 that had to start from the rear: Malkut, Roberts, Naomi Garcia. We'll keep an eye on their progress here as we go down to hear from the rest of our KA Stars.
Thank you, Xander. Adam, we spoke to you before the race. You said, listen, if I can just get through the start and be inside the top 10, I think I'll have a chance. It worked out for you. You had a chance at the win there. What was the difference between you and Alan?
Yeah, I think our speed was relatively the same, so it all came down to the chess match, and he was able to get it inside on turn 6, and he got it done.
I mean, throughout that race, describe it to me, right? Because it seemed the first half was pass or be passed. The second half, like you mentioned, a chess match. I mean, is that kind of what you expected heading into this one?
Yeah, the first part wasn't really what I wanted it to be. I mean, I survived the start, but I felt like I overblocked, over-defended, But we got through, put our head down, ran some nice laps, and got to the front, but going to get it done in the end.
Yeah, and lastly here, I mean, considering a lot of the drivers that you are up against are in the seat a lot, you're not in the kart seat a lot, but you're in the car seat quite a bit now in the GR side of things. So what's that transition been like from in karts to cars and then back into the kart here?
It's really fun. You know, the karting is crazy, like, physical. Like, the car is nowhere close to it. So coming back in this, I was getting a little bit tired there towards the end, but I like my race. I'm happy with it, so.
Congrats, Adam.
Thank you.
Back to you.
A cool testament there from Adam Brickley, as we wish him the best of luck in that Toyota GR86 Cup ride that he's working on. But a great testament to this sport and how physical it is driving one of these four-wheeled race kart machines. Isaac Malcutt, speaking of physical, well, he's not the biggest driver in the pits for the junior category, but man, is he a rocket ship. Still faster than everyone minus the leader. Last time by, he picked off another half a second from Forrest Adams, another 7/10 off of Mad Max Weiland there in the 5th position. So we've got Isaac Malcutt here half a second away, and he might even get closer than that before we even finish up, as Antonino Jr. and Nathan Dupuis are going at it there for 3rd. Dupuis got around him, Antonino Jr. back on him for P3. There's Malcutt on Forrest Adams. He'll take another spot away and continue to charge with that PSL Karting Bureau Art forward. Let's go back to Alex for more.
Thank you, Xander. Brandon, we spoke before this. I mean, we've heard kind of the same phrase from Adam BUs, right? It's a chess match. You were scratching your head a little bit after that one. The pace was there, but ultimately a 3rd place result. I mean, what do you think made the difference between you and the guys ahead of you?
Just not white lining it early enough, I guess. But I mean, you know, 3rd is still good enough for me. 3 for Dale. You got to represent Dale. Yeah, I don't know. The team I'm on, Franklin Motorsports, Vulture Powered Engines. I mean, the kart was good all weekend long. I mean, 3rd place finish being the worst finish we had all weekend. I guess 4th for qualifying, but race-wise, you know, I can't complain about it. So having to learn it all, you know, alone. Don't have any teammates to help out. So it was a challenge for sure, but it was fun. Just got a white line, I guess, earlier.
Thank you, Brandon.
No problem.
A bit deflated from Brandon Lemke, but again, you can't blame him there, right? That race all kind of went sideways once Adam Brickley started putting it on the inside of the racetrack and stacking them all up, because they were pretty spread apart up until then. And when Lemke and Overbeck got into it because of the white lining in front of them and the battling opened up, like you said, he just was on the back foot for the last few laps trying to track down the leaders. Ends up P3. Here's another move from Isaac Malcutt. Inside and clear. Nathan Dupuis now back to 5th. Malcutt up to 4th. Podium definitely within reach here, Caleb, as Davin Roberts is also following him through. He gets around Max Weiland there for 6th. Roberts only about 8/10 back from Dupuis. They both are significantly quicker than John Antonino, and Gage Korn is a little bit slower than them, but not as much as Antonino Jr. is here. While this is still all about Michael McGoy, and sadly problems there for the Kart Republic. A Maximo Karam, he's off on the side of the racetrack. We saw the mechanical issue for Chase Cassidy at Lee. I have to assume the same for McCarron and Luke Tall. Here's Malcutt for 3rd. He gets through on John Antonino. Isaac Malcutt taking that spot away in turn 14.
And it would be a good end to Malcutt's day after getting a win already. And hopefully a podium here in this OKNJ class. Has a lot of pace. Davin Roberts as well. Like you said, another one of the drivers that's moving up the field, but does not have the same pace that Isaac Malcutt has. A 41.6 for Isaac Malcutt. For Davin Roberts last time, 2/10 off of that, which is why he's been struggling a little bit to make the moves that he needs to make, and why Isaac Malcutt was able to get ahead and not look back. So for Davin Roberts, he currently sits 6th. Isaac Malcutt currently 3rd out of the drivers who are working their way up the field. And for Naomi Garcia, something amiss, a 2nd off the pace after being in top 5 contention yesterday, and even race-winning contention yesterday. So Naomi Garcia, something amiss in that Sodi Racing USA machine, like Luke Tall, right? So issues could be mechanical for that Sodi Racing USA team, but for Isaac Malcutt and the Burrell Art guys, they've been rolling all weekend long after a couple of DQs, putting them on the back foot. Hasn't shaking him up at all, as he's closing down that gap to Gage Korn here at the moment.
So just hearing some more intel from the scale line. Chase Cassidy Lee, who bailed out early in this main, a blown read, the issue for Chase Cassidy Lee on the 113 Nash Motorsports car. Now Davin Roberts has gotten around Nathan Dupuis. Next up, John Antonino Jr., that'd be for 4th. as he and Isaac Malka continue to tear up the field and charge towards the podium right now. Malka in a podium spot, wants that second spot from Gage Korn, and he is a tick quicker than Michael McGoy. A good bit quicker here at the end of this race. McGoy's fallen down to a 41.9, so half a second better for Isaac Malka. If he falls off anymore, Malka at the speed he's going might get there. He's only, 4 seconds is a massive gap, but never say never here, folks. There's still so much unpredictability with this OKN junior class. Let's see if he makes this move right here. Turn 14, bumper looking inside, easily done. Isaac Malka into second now. Gage Korn back to third, but a great point with Naomi Garcia. She obviously pulled in early as well with something amiss for the Sodi kart, so into pit lane for Naomi in the 119. Joins her teammate, unfortunately, Luke Tall, so both of the Sodis will fail to finish. 10 drivers remain. Tyrone Kemper Jr., Paulie Hart, Max Weiland in the 8th spot, Forrest Adams in 7th, Dupuis in 6th, Davin Roberts P5, and I think that might be the next battle, because Roberts last time by was a little bit quicker than Antonino Jr. For the 4th position, as Malka already rocketing away from Gage Korn. And even with the pass made, Caleb, he picked up about 4/10. Let's see if he does it again this time. Michael McGoy picked up a little, 1/10 better. Malka fastest on the circuit, 3.6 seconds. Can he catch him?
Yeah, Malka setting in really good lap times. It's 2 minutes left. He's 3 seconds behind. It's a long shot, but if anybody can do it, it's Isaac Malka, but he needs to be perfect, set in flyers, set in personal best lap times, but it may be just too much. Xander, I'm still kind of shaken up by the amount of DNFs that we've had in this class because of mechanical issues. What exactly does it take to blow a reed in this engine package?
A lot of different things. These reeds, from what we've seen, maybe it's definitely a lot more than any other division. Now, you're asking a lot out of the motor, right, because it's direct to power. So when you're off throttle at any point here, when the axle has that quick spin, especially mainly what it is really is when you lock the brakes up. And this is something that you're able to do in a clutch-driven go-kart because it doesn't take the rev range all the way down to 0 if the axle stops for a second. But again, this motor's only running when that axle is spinning. So you're basically hitting the kill switch on that motor if you lock up at all, and then boom, the axle starts spinning again because the momentum you have, because you obviously don't come to a full stop. And that quick kind of sudden stop-go seems to be what's blowing the reeds. And I'm not an engine builder, so it may sound a little silly to most of those listening in, but that was a lot of what it was last year for the OKN Stars drivers, is locking the brakes up at all. Again, you basically stall the motor, and then you're basically bump starting it at a super high rotation rate and revolutions per minute for the rear axle, still spinning, going 40, 50 miles an hour. That quick start-stop, that's what will probably blow the reeds for a lot of these younger drivers. And while the seniors, being a little more developed, they might be able to make that quick adjustment to their style easier than a junior that's trying this for the first time, as John Antonino Jr. now getting around Gage Korn at turns 10 and 11. And that's really all what's in the driver's control. The rest of it, that fragility a little bit that feels like this motor more than maybe, say, the spec classes, that's the same as what we saw the Supernats. Remember, Danny Formel won the Supernats on his 3rd Vortex KZ of the weekend because he blew 2 motors up on practice day. In an open builder, multi-manufacturer class, you push the limits a little bit more because you can, and sometimes you run that risk of parts failing. So, whereas in the spec class, they're not able to go that far. They kind of have what they have and can only really go to a little bit of tolerances. So, as the builders figure this out, as the tuners figure the engines out, there's going to be probably a lot of failures before we start seeing a lot more reliability out of the OKN package. And it's not like they're blowing the motor up entirely, but a blown reed is still going to take you out of the running. So that's definitely a bummer to end the weekend this way for 2 drivers that were really up in the mix, Naomi Garcia and Chase Cassie at Lee. And for Maximo Karam and Luke Tall, it's about getting more laps and getting up to speed. You got 2 drivers who have very limited experience, especially in a full-size package and especially at the national level in each of them. But they will not get to run all the way to the checkers here this time. John Antonino Jr. as well. This is another kind of interesting point, the fall-off of Gage Korn's speed, because the fall-off in pace has been pretty substantial for Gage. He got down to a 41.7. He's fallen down to a 41.9, nearly a 42.0. We heard from Alan Isabard in the KA class that the tires going away was pretty substantial for them, so might be the same scenario playing out right now where some drivers did not expect the way they were driving, the way their setup was going to lose as much grip as it has. Now, Michael McGoy, he's fallen off on pace, but it doesn't matter. He built up the big enough gap. The rest of the competition wasn't close enough. Isaac Malkut has done a great job conserving rubber, having a good setup that doesn't skirt the rear or overwork the front tires. He's knocked that gap obviously down to 2.5 seconds. He was 0.2 better last lap, 0.4 better the lap before, but is just going to run out of time. Took too long to get through on the start, unfortunately for Malkut, but fortunately for Michael McGoy. First career junior national win for Michael McGoy. Isaac Malkut comes from the rear of the field to finish third. John Antonino Jr. will get a podium in the OKN Junior debut. Gage Korn fourth, Davin Roberts fifth, Nathan Dupuis, Forrest Adams, Max Weiland, Paulie Hart, and Tyrone Kemper Jr. But open the history books. Michael McGoy becomes the first ever OKN Junior main event winner in the U.S. The first ever race for this engine, not just in Stars, but across the country. Michael McGoy will go down as the first ever winner, and that's a very rare opportunity you get to make history. That young man right there just did it. So congratulations to Michael McGoy on that big-time win here in the Stars Championship Series. He tried and almost got a full sweep of the day with that move in KA Junior, but he absolutely just walked away with it here in OKN Junior. We might have been treated to a bit of a better battle if he got held up in the beginning like Malkut and Roberts did, especially Isaac Malkut with how fast he was at the end. But, a first and a second, it's not a bad day at the racetrack for Isaac Malkut, especially having to come from the rear of the field, Caleb.
Yeah, not too bad for Isaac Malkut, right? Like you said, a win and a podium for him. And had some fun while doing it, right? How to make the passes, how to work his way up the field, had the pace to win potentially. But, after a couple of DQs yesterday, put him on the back foot. Not too bad. For John Antonino, won here at the Stars Championship Series last year at Clash at the Club in the KAC Junior package. And then this year, a good showing for him. Obviously had to work for it, right? Gage Korn didn't make it easy. Davin Roberts didn't make it easy. Fought with Nathan Dupuis there for a little while. So John Antonino back with the MPG Academy team, and a good showing for him. For Gage Korn as well, getting himself in the top 5. Davin Roberts, a good recovery drive after, like we were saying, a class that was so plagued with mechanical failures. Davin Roberts, one of those drivers who was really quick, potentially the favorite coming into this one to take the win. A top 5 is a consolation prize for Davin Roberts this weekend. And Dupuis really showing his pace here, transitioning from X30 to the OKNJ side of things. He was quick in podium range in one stage of the race, and a top 6 is all she wrote for Nathan Dupuis.
Forrest Adams ends up 7th here, an impressive debut in his first National Junior race of 2024. Max Weiland, Paulie Hart Jr., Tyrone Kemper, again, the final 10 standing here in the OKN Junior main event, and then the heartbreak for Naomi Garcia, Luke Tall, Max McCarron, especially Chase Gassi at lead. He had a half-decent starting spot and a really good jump off the line. He was in that leading group that our winner came out of, Michael McGoy, but a broken reed takes him out. So the scale line's rolling through. I believe we should have Michael McGoy with us in a moment, and there he is. History books are open, and Michael McGoy is the first ever OKN Junior winner here in the U.S., and he comes away with it after 2 top 5 results here in his performances today. Alex?
Thank you, Xander. Michael McGoy, not only your first junior win, but the first junior win in OKNJ history. What are your emotions after that one?
I mean, it's really physical. Really excited that I won. I haven't won in a long time, but pretty good, yeah.
And lastly here, there's got to be some people you want to thank here. I see it on your shirt already, so who do you want to thank for this victory?
Ryan Perry Motorsports, my dad for paying all of it, the engines, yeah.
Thank you, Michael, and congrats.
Thank you.
There you have it from Michael McGoy, folks. We'll be having the semi-pro podiums here coming up in about 5 minutes at the track here from America's Home for Racing. We'll take a commercial break and return with more for the Stars Championship Series Queen City Gambit. And at the top of the hour, we'll switch over to the Mazda Motorsports Pro Show here from Charlotte Motor Speedway.
USA, a top-level performance team with unmatched hospitality, offering a full-service driver development program with year-round testing available in Miami, Florida, and the official North America racing team of Parolin Racing Chassis. Chassis and parts available at ParolinUSA.com.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
Are you looking for an advantage in your competition? Well, Kart Class has done the hard work for you. We've traveled to your racetracks to give you the inside knowledge. So what does Kart Class offer? We've got drone footage that captures the racing lines, visual markers for your braking points, acceleration zones, and the best overtake opportunities on your racetrack. Pedal cam to show you where to brake and when to accelerate, and 360-degree footage to make sure you don't miss any parts on the racetrack. We've covered 13 racetracks in the United States, and Australia, you're up next. So visit kartclass.com to get your track information.
The best current generation of simulators only convince 50% of the human brain that they are real. Here at Simcraft, that just isn't realistic enough. Developed to offer the most realistic karting sim experience in the world, all testing has shown that the physics engine used in Simcraft's Grid 1 model convinces 90% of the human brain that you are actually on track. Now that is the real deal.
Brandon, why are there all these charges for just over $200 from Acceleration Kart Racing's website?
That's because AKR gives you free shipping on orders of $200 or more within the continental US.
Okay, but I thought you were just getting a pair of gloves. That's what, 70 bucks?
But if I'm getting a new pair of gloves, I might as well get a new pair of shoes to match. And then on top of that, I'll get a neck brace because with the shipping, it's basically free.
Yeah, I do not think the math checks out on that.
Everything you need, all in one place and shipped to your door for free for orders of $200 or more. Exclusions apply. Spend responsibly. Shop AKR.com.
Are you ready to go fast? From road race to sprint race, 4-stroke, 2-stroke, club, regional, and national, DYL Kart Sport brings a family fun atmosphere. We're here to help you. We've already got plenty of hardware here to start 2024, and with team manager Rhett Thomas bringing years as a champion driver and tuner, we're ready to take you to the front. Inquire now to find out more about our Comp Kart Race Shop and team at dylkartsport.com or driveyourline.com.
Colin, I need a new 219 chain. I need a 77 tooth sprocket. I need some more chain lube, and I need it probably as soon as like tomorrow. Dude, are you even listening? Like, we need this to run this weekend.
Want anything else?
What do you mean?
I already got it in the car on Acceleration Kart Racing's online store, bro. All orders over $200 get free shipping.
Oh, throw in a set of tires.
Done.
Everything you need, all in one place and shipped to your door for free on orders of $200 or more. Exclusions apply. Shop AKR.com.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
Parallel USA, a top-level performance team with unmatched hospitality, offering a full-service driver development program with year-round testing available in Miami, Florida, and the official North America racing team of Parallel Racing Chassis. Chassis and parts available at ParalleLuSA.com.
Are you looking for an advantage in your competition? Well, Kart Class has done the hard work for you. We've traveled to your racetracks to give you the inside knowledge. So what does Kart Class offer? We've got drone footage that captures the racing lines, visual markers for your braking points, acceleration zones, and the best overtake opportunities on your racetrack. Pedal cam to show you where to brake and when to accelerate, and 360-degree footage to make sure you don't miss any parts on the racetrack. We've covered 13 racetracks in the United States, and Australia, you're up next. So visit kartclass.com to get your track information.
We're at a commercial break.
Are you ready to go fast? From road race to sprint race, 4-stroke, 2-stroke, club, regional, and national, DYL Kart Sport brings a family fun atmosphere. We're here to help you. We've already got plenty of hardware here to start 2024, and with team manager Rhett Thomas bringing years as a champion driver and tuner, we're ready to take you to the front. Inquire now to find out more about our Comp Kart Race Shop and team at dylkartsport.com or driveyourline.com.
So first up, let's go here with Rock Shifter Master. Third place today in Rock Shifter Master, Owsley Cheek the third. Second place in the Rock Masters main event today goes to Mike Rivera. And your main event winner here in the Rock Masters subcategory, Skitchy Boards. Yeah, you can go ahead and stand on in for Skitchy, that works. We got one placeholder. We know we'll need another because Skitchy had a fantastic day. Fellas, can we get those trophies high above your heads for us? And let's give it up for your Rock Masters podium. There we go, guys. Thank you very much here. Let's move over to the overall Pro Shifter Master podium. First up, third place in the Maranello Kart USA camp, Brian Chatfield. Second place in your overall Pro Master field, Scott Presti. And we'll need another stand-in because this guy didn't just win the Rock Master main event, he won the overall main event. Skitchy Barnes in Rock and Pro Masters. All right, congratulations here to our Pro Masters podium boys. Let's go ahead and raise those trophies up, fellas. Let's give it up for our Pro Shifter Masters. All right, next up will be our KA Junior main event. Again, all results unofficial. Let's go ahead to our top three. First up, third place in the KA Junior main event, Enzo Vidmontian. Second place in your KA Junior final, Ty Fisher. And he won a race last year. He's a winner again. Give it up for your KA Junior main event winner, Isaac Milka. All right, we'll get them their offset gloves here for the photo. And fellas, you got to hold the gloves, hold the trophy, and get them both up nice and high in the sky here. Your Queen City Gambit KA Junior podium out of 59 drivers here. These were the top three. When the dust settled, put the trophies above your heads, boys, and give it up for your KA Juniors. All right, next up we've got our Swift Stars. So the next jump up from the Micro Swift category for your Swift Stars podium here. We'll have our top three standing up here in a moment. First up, third place in Swift Stars, Valentino Sentien. Congratulations to Valentino here on a hard-earned podium, and as well, a first career national podium in Swift Stars for Luke Giglio. And over 5.5 seconds, the margin of victory absolutely dominating. No better way to get your first Swift Stars win for Parker Ives. All right, fellas here, gloves, trophies, hold them up nice and high. Let's give it up for your Swift Stars podium. All right, next up we have our KA Stars top three here at the podium. This was a barn burner and our biggest class here this weekend, and over 60 plus entries in KA Stars. So first up, third place for Franklin Motorsports, Brandon Lemke. Second second place in your KA Stars main event. He doesn't make a lot of start. For when he does, he makes some noise. Give it up for North Carolina's own Adam Brickley. And your main event winner, he sweeps the KA Senior Races nationally in the month of April. Alan Isenberg. And out of 62, these are your top 3 in the KA Stars Queen City Gambit. Put the trophies up, boys, and let's give it up for your KA Stars Podium. And last but not least here on our semi-pro section of the day will be the OKN Juniors. We'll collect those offset gloves for one more quick photo shoot. And again, all results are unofficial, so be aware here, folks. Third place in the OKN Junior main event, John Antonino Jr. He already got a win earlier. He ends up with another finish on the box. Second place in OKN Juniors main event from last on the grid, Isaac Malka. And going down in the history books as the first ever OKN Junior main event winner, and his first Junior National win, Michael McGoy. All right, we'd like to ask that our Micro Swift drivers, if you're still around here, we'd like to retake that Micro Swift top 3 picture. For now, though, let's give it up for the OKN Junior main event podium. All right, let's collect those gloves back up, fellas. Great job. We'll hand the gloves back over here to Jackson. You'll get your code for offset gloves here as you take the Offset Sport for partnering with us. And for our Micro Swift drivers, if you still have your trophies with you, we'd like to ask you to come back up to the stage. We do have Santiago Orioli here with us now. So Santi, Zane, and Easton, come back up. We'll give them one more big round of applause. I think Easton needs his trophy there. Thank you very much, Easton and Zane. And Santi there. You got you guys organized? All right. Awesome job, fellas. We'll give the gloves back out for one more photo shoot here. There we go. All right. Now we've got the full frame, the full top 3. Put the trophies up, boys. Let's give it up one more time for the Micro Swifts. Awesome stuff, guys. Here, Joe. Hand it over to you really fast.
Just want to take a minute to thank everybody for being here. Congratulations to everybody on the podiums. Obviously, we had a lot of entries and we ran out of tires. And I always give away tires to all the winners for each class. So what I'm going to do is I'll get you guys credits for the tires that go into your accounts as opposed to tires themselves. That was loud. Again, thanks everybody. Thanks for being here. Glad you came.
There we go. Thank you, everybody here. For those that are still in the paddock, you can hang around. The Pro Show presented by Monster Motorsports gets started at the top of the hour. If you'd like to come up and take some podium pictures, we'll hold this podium up just for a little bit longer, but you got to rush to get up in line. And if you'd like to take any of the City Pro podium pictures, so again, we'll hang up here for a little bit longer while the Monster Motorsports Pro Show gets set to get going with OKN Stars here at 1 p.m.